Only the Winnipeg Jets have a winning road record. The Flyers are 2-3-2 away from home. One of those wins came on the first Saturday of the season, 6-1 at Landover. A week ago Sunday at the Spectrum, the Flyers drilled the Caps again, 6-2. No team is even close to the Flyers' home ice record of 13 wins in 14 games. Tonight, the two Patrick Division rivals go back to Landover. The Flyers have gone 5 games without a loss. The Capitals have stumbled through 8 games without a win. It's the Flyers and Capitals now.
Live, we welcome you to the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland, where tonight Patrick Division rivals the Philadelphia Flyers and the Washington Capitals. Good evening, Gene Hart along with the Chief Bob Taylor. And Bob, what would have been circled at the beginning of the season on the schedule as a battle tonight between two of the league's elite has only turned out to be half correct. The Flyers are leading the league in wins, fewest losses, most goals average, best defense, most victories, most points. They're leading the Patrick Division, but conversely, the Capitals are in a state of disarray and are just 2 points out of the cellar.
I think they're really a confused team right now, Gene. Bobby Carpenter, of course, he came out in the papers just a couple of days ago saying that he'll never play for the Capitals again, and he was one of their big guns. Time that happens, you know, it really sort of puts a little feeling of indecision amongst the players, and everything they've tried out there has not worked like it did before or years past. And the thing that probably is their biggest hole is their defense. Their defense is usually right up with the Flyers in 1 or 2 or 3 in the league, and they're down. I think they're second from the bottom. So it's something that they really have to come out of, or at least hope that they come out of. But as of right now, they're very confused.
Well, they've given up better than 4 goals a game. They have not had the services of Carpenter.
Part we lost McMahon. The good part is now the team has to rally around each other. They have to
8. But Bobby, you and I know that's just when a team can be very, very dangerous.
Oh, definitely, Gene. I mean, here's a club that has battled the Flyers tooth and nail for over the last 4 or 5 years.
He's got to start. The other players know now that maybe
when you come into the Cap Center, or even when they come down and play in the Spectrum. But I'm not so sure if, you know, this Pavanka has really come on for them, Michel Pavanka. And Gustafson was a good player for them, but Pavanka's added the offense that Gustafson gave them. Maybe he hasn't given them the leadership that Gustafson gave them. But here's a club that, you know, it's like the old adage, when the rat is cornered and in the back up against the wall, then you're going to come out really fighting. And this could be one of those cases.
Previous 2 games, big victories for Philadelphia, 6-1 here, 6-2 at the Spectrum. But this is a brand new one, Game 3, Chapter 3 of this 7-game set this year. From the Landover Cap Center, Flyers Washington hockey next.
It's Flyers hockey on Philly 57. Tonight against the Washington Caps in Landover, Maryland. Flyers hockey is brought to you in part by the Olds Connection, your local Oldsmobile dealer who urges you to get a Delta 88 or other new Olds before the sales tax deduction ends December 31st. By Pepsi, the choice of a new generation. By the people of Eastern Airlines, they earn their wings every day. By Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers, home of the Big Classic. This is the good stuff. And by Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. We wrote the book.
Waiting for us to save it. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, rated PG. Now playing.
Introducing Wendy's new Big Classic hamburger.
This is the good stuff.
Can't get it in a Whopper.
This is the good stuff.
Can't get it in a McDLT.
This is the good stuff.
Wendy's new Big Classic.
Fresh meat, fresh taste, big size. This is the one made right before you rise. This is the good stuff.
Wendy's new Big Classic.
Can't get enough. This is the good stuff.
Bogota tomorrow. I'm on Eastern.
Panama City.
If business is taking you to Latin America, with just one phone call, Eastern Airlines can get you to more cities in Latin America from more cities in North America than anyone, and pamper you with our famous El Interamericano service.
Welcome to Santiago.
Eastern, your airline to all the Americas.
This bud's for all that you do.
Carlos, I need 100 of these by Friday. My friend, I'm retired. My son is running the business now.
Oh. Let's see, what do you have there?
Well, I want to...
You know just where you're going. Now is your time for growing. It's your turn to deal now. You're at the wheel now. It's true, your pride is showing, cause you make America work, and this but's for you. For everything you do, America calls on guys like you, cause you make America work, and this but's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers.
You make America work, and this but's for you.
The Capitals took 3 days off this week for an intensive series of lectures, videotapes, on-ice sessions, conditioning drills, and interviews with players. It may have paid some dividends in their 2-2 tie with Boston on Wednesday. We'll see if it pays dividends tonight as we go to the Cap Center with the voice and the chief.
Low average in the 18 games, 13-3-2, which leads the league. He has a 9.26 save percentage. Bob Mason will get the start for the Washington Capitals. He's played in 13 games for this club. 3.16 goals against average, 4-5-4 with a .896 save percentage. Now the opening lineups and drop of the puck, Gene Hart.
Just to note that Bobby Taylor and I have been paid and selected by the Philadelphia Flyers. Allworth is out there along with Adams and Craig Laughlin, three veterans in this Washington lineup. With Hatcher and Langway, the Flyers go Tocchet. There's his shot as the Flyers penetrated. Stole Marsh from the point. Right on. Rebound. Score by Philadelphia's Rick Tocchet. And it comes at the 14-second mark.
Number 9 for Tocchet, and the Flyers really jump on the Caps quickly. The Flyers really put the pressure on. Marsh with a quick shot. The rebound was not controlled by Mason. Nobody checked Tocchet. He had that whole side of the net to put the puck away, and he picks up number 9. As Gene says, at the 14-second mark, Brad Marsh will pick up the lone assist on the play. And you want a quick start, especially against a team that's struggling, and the Flyers have gotten it.
Play now back at the Philadelphia line. Marsh still out with Crosman, and up front, Tocchet, Sutter, and Derek Smith. And the Caps change with Pavanka and Gould forechecking Gaetan Duchesne. And defensively, they have Larry Murphy, who leads the Caps in scoring at one defensive position. And on the other side, they go Scott Stevens. Puck kicks back into the Philadelphia zone. That is not, by the way, the fastest goal to start a game for Philadelphia. Puck into the Flyers zone. Gould chases, and the Flyers clear it all the way off the glass. And it caroms off an angle right in on Mason, so play continues. Flyers make a change as Murphy brings it up at center ice. At the Flyer line, rolls it in. Howe takes him out, and McCrimmon lifts it high in the air. Knocked down on a high stick at center ice by the Caps. Controlled by Murray Craven, who's out there along with Sinisalo and Zezel. And the defense, McCrimmon and Howe. It is Murphy back with Langway and Gould up front. As the puck kicks away, and the Flyers lose it at center ice. Gould is out on one side, Francis Getty on the left, centered by Dave Christian. Langway fans, the puck taken away by Sinisalo, penetrates, right side shot and grabbed in the right glove of the goaltender, cleared around to the near side on a miss and sent all the way into the Flyers zone by the Capital defense. Lonsbury, as we said, 9 seconds coming on October the 20th, 77 versus Pittsburgh. There's a play cleared back into the Flyers zone, and it will be waved off the offside as the Caps, under the new rule, clear the zone. Now, instead of an offside, it's an icing, as John Blum now wants to get in a little bit of activity with Philadelphia's Murray Craven.
And also, we're getting some pushing and shoving in front of that with McCrimmon and Francis Getty. Mike Gartner took a run at Brad McCrimmon. McCrimmon saw him coming, jumped up in the air and flattened Gartner. And that's what this is all about, Gene. It happened way back inside the zone of the Philadelphia Flyers. And I think that Gartner looked up very quickly to see about a penalty, but all McCrimmon did was protect himself as Gartner took a run at him. Scratch for Philadelphia tonight, Scott Mellenby, Dave Poulin, Darryl Stanley, and Bobby Frohls. Don Nockbar has been called up from Hershey. And Washington, without Bob Carpenter, Greg Smith, Steve Leach, Jeff Greenlaw, Ed Kostelik. Lots of action in the game, in the league tonight. Boston's in Buffalo. St. Louis in Detroit, Toronto in Minnesota, and Chicago's in Edmonton.
Craven gets 2 for slashing, and Craven 2 for slashing, and Blum 2 for charging. It comes at 1:42. Coincidental minors. They'll skate at full strength on the ice. For Mr. Blum of the Washington Capitals, that gives him penalty minutes 51 and 52. And for Philadelphia's Murray Craven, he now has 12. If you've just joined us, for the 3rd time in 3 meetings this year with the Capitals, the Flyers go on the scoreboard in the first 2 minutes of the game. Tocchet from Marsh is 9th. Philadelphia 1-0. The Flyers now with Kerr, Propp, and Eklund, who thought he might not play tonight, but is in the lineup along with McCrimmon and Howe. The Caps have Pavanka, Gould, and Duchesne out, with Murphy on one defensive position and Scott Stevens on the other, and Stevens ices it, and that should be a routine touch-up by Mark Howe for the stoppage. Both Scapinello, one linesman, and Jerry Gauthier, the other, agree. The 2 linesmen, Bobby, with a total of 32 years National Hockey League experience.
I always get a kick out of Ray Scapinello, Gene. He's one of the most outgoing and vibrant personalities for a referee. That's very odd coming from me. You don't hear me say that too often about those boys in stripes. Mike Keenan, what a record he's had. He's had a pretty good record against his hockey club, too. I think he's only lost 3 times since he's been here in Philadelphia.
12-3-1. Offensive right circle face-off Philadelphia. Pavanka against Kerr, and Jerry Gauthier out of Montreal will handle the drop of the puck. It drops up for grabs in the corner, poked in by the Flyers, and no play can be made, and finally comes out of the corner. Pavanka fights his way through past Propp into center ice, and the puck rolls to the Flyer line. Howe maneuvers cross ice and rips it up into center. Off Kerr's skate. Eklund can't make a play, and now the Caps go rink wide, but no control there. And Propp to Howe from McCrimmon, back to McCrimmon in the Flyers' defensive right circle, and up the center right on the stick of the Caps' Larry Murphy. Pivots, waits for his line to clear, and then drives one down behind Hextall. Hextall for McCrimmon. It's blocked off, and the Flyers get it back behind the net. To Propp. Propp turns, tries to drive it out, gets it to Eklund and through behind Kerr at center ice. Scott Stevens picks it off at the cap line, right sides it, and Murphy then puts it at his own line. Pavanka turns in deep in the zone at his right circle, now up the middle, and puts it into the neutral zone for Murphy. Murphy with Gould on his right, over the line. Now into the corner behind Gould, who has to follow it behind the Flyer net. Checked off by Marsh. That allows Eklund to skim it into center ice. Stevens will drive it back in, and that should be a delay offside unless the Caps come out cleanly. And they have not as yet. The delay offside is still on. Marsh now wheels it into center, but no pass to Lindsey Carson. Picked off by Haworth to Laughlin, back into the Capital zone to defenseman John Barrett. Barrett passed the check of Lindsey Carson into the Philadelphia zone. Now Laughlin up the middle. He's buried on a check, shovels it in on Hextall. The penalty has been called against Dave Brown for hooking. He goes off at 3:19 of the first period. Washington power play coming up. Flyers lead 1-0.
Here's what's new. Here's Jeff Wolf of the Olds Connection. What's new? The new Olds Delta 88. This smooth-riding front-wheel drive Oldsmobile is surprisingly quick for a 6-passenger car. We think it's the most car for the money. I always wanted a Delta 88.
Me too.
I'll buy one next year. You'll be sorry. I will. If you buy before December 31st, you can deduct over $900 in sales tax on a Delta 88. Over $900? I'm not waiting.
Get a Delta 88 now at your Olds Connection dealer. It's the best news of the year.
Well, Washington will get the first shot of a power play. Brown picks up a hooking minor at 3:19. This is something that Washington has not done very well up to this game. They rank 21st in the league, which is last. And they've also given up 6 shorthanded goals.
3 penalties in the game, 2 to Philadelphia. Brown now at 84 minutes. The Caps 13 for 106, as Bobby mentioned, and in the 2 previous games against Philadelphia, they've had a ton of chances. 17 have scored 1 power play goal and have been hit for 2 shorthanded. So the Caps are technically a -1 against Philadelphia. Haworth, Adams on the left, Gould on the right. Murphy back at the point with Langway. Murphy has trouble handling it, keeps it into Haworth, and then loses it to the Flyer goal scorer, Rick Tocchet. Left wing pass to Ron Sutter, to Tocchet, spins along the near side. He's in the zone by himself, drives it in on Mason, and he just directs it in the corner to the near side. And out comes Langway as Ron Sutter was taken off the play by a check from Murphy, and Haworth charges into the Flyer zone along the left wing. Holds. Now goes back to Langway. Right side to Murphy's there with the screen. Oh, and a kick save. Rebound was swept out of the way. As right there was Alan Haworth to try to get a whack, and no, sir. Ron Sutter up at center. Wheels it back to the Philadelphia defense of Marsh and Crossman. Sutter on with pocket, and now Crossman finds the opening and ices in. 4 minutes gone. First period, 1-0 Philadelphia. There's a minute 14 remaining on the penalty to Dave Brown. Capitals Murphy out with Langway. Puts it cross ice as Pivonka's on now with Gould and Duchesne. Duchesne along the far side has to wait for his defensive pairing to change. He's got Christian at one side and now Scott Stevens at the other. Into the offensive left corner. Trying to go back, but it's picked off and sent to the near side, but not out, and then out by Philadelphia's Brad McCrimmon. McCrimmon and Howe, Sinisalo, and Zezel the penalty killers against Stevens and Dave Christian on the back line. And up front now, Gartner is out there along with Duchesne, and Pivonka with the puck now at the Flyer line. Rolls it behind the Philadelphia net. Howe is there, tries to come out to the near side, almost picked off by Gartner. Cleared but not out at the point by the Flyers. Christian to Stevens, shot, save, rebound, hooked away from in front as Gartner scrambling for the rebound. Fights it in the corner along with McCrimmon. In there as well as Duchesne. There's an angled shot. Hextall covers the post. Zezel is pulled down in the corner, falls in the puck. Dave Newell says keep playing. It kicks to the far side. Sinisalo has it. He's checked and is rolled into center ice nicely by Zezel. Zezel worked on at the Flyer player bench by Scott Stevens. In comes Washington's Duchesne and Philadelphia's Sinisalo to force a stoppage of play at center ice with 5 seconds remaining on the Cap power play.
Well, that's something you have to really take a look at. Washington has not been able to work that power play very well. The puck has been bouncing around for them as well, and seems like when you're not doing well in one area of this game, it just seems to compound itself, and right now the Capitals just can't seem to find the handle. Gartner had a couple of opportunities at it, but Hextall helps things out when he's back there as well, even when that plays in around the net, because when he does poke check the puck away, he'll flip it up in the air a little bit, so that bounces the puck even further, so it makes it more difficult for that forward to corral it right around that net.
Washington had 3 shots on the power play. The Flyers 1 short-handed. Haworth is out against Eklund, who's on with McCrimmon and Howe and Prop, but now Dave Brown is out of the box as the Caps lift high into the air, into the offensive left corner. McCrimmon to the point. Haworth cuts it off. Now there's a play, a kick save off a shot by Langway as the Caps are jamming the net very well and getting shots from the point. Puck in the neutral zone. Myers trying to take it away. Prop loses it to Laughlin. Rink-wide pass slashes off the Flyer defensive right boards behind Hextall. He wheels it off the glass. It should be corralled by Laughlin. Hash marks right circle. Puts it behind the net. Eklund sweeps it around to Kerr up on the Flyer defensive right side. Drops it to McCrimmon. McCrimmon spins away from the forechecking of Greg Adams and brings it into center ice. Throw it to Prop. He splits the defense, is pulled down, and Langway will go off. And that little pass, blue line to blue line by McCrimmon, sets up a Flyer power play with 5:59 gone. First period, 1-0 Philadelphia.
Somebody have any change? Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
While the Flyers have a chance to put their power play into effect, hooking is the call on Ron Langway as it comes at 5:59, and as Gene mentioned, good lead pass by McCrimmon to Prop, who had that seam up the middle, and Langway had to hook the Flyer player down, or else he would have had a pretty good opportunity to go in all alone on Bob Mason.
Flyers 3 for 14 against Washington on the league total, 19 for 106. Point shot. Mason the save right onto the stick. Barrett, but the Caps don't get it out. It's behind the net to Kerr. Lets it roll offensive right corner. Sinisalo challenged by Murphy. Back behind the net to Eklund. In front trying to shovel it to Kerr. Nice block off by Scott Stevens, and he plays up ice where it's sent all the way down by Bob Gould. Then Hextall up on the near side to Eklund. Eklund shovels it out off the right boards, and in full pursuit is Prop at the Cap line right wing. Cuts to the middle of the ice to Kerr with a slap shot. That's blocked. Eklund in front tries to roll it to the net. Blocked off, tries to keep it in along the near side. Picked off by Murphy. He'll come out along with the Francis Getty of the Flyer line. Murphy then, as we have a stoppage of play on an offside. I believe.
I think that's what the call is, Gene. The puck, he picked it up over the red line on that clearing play outside of their zone. So with 1:18 left in the power play, the Flyers will have their face-off just outside that offensive zone.
You've just come our way. 14 seconds, the time of the game's only goal. Tocchet, number 9 from Marsh, on a rebound. There have been 4 penalties evenly divided. The Caps 0 for 1 on their power play. The Flyers have 1:18 on theirs as a beleaguered Brian Murray looks on from the Cap bench directly across the way. Gartner killing a penalty along with Duchesne, and they have Blum out with Stevens. The Flyers retreating. There's a cross-ice pass by Propp, who's at the point with Crossman. Gets it back at his own line. He's the only man back. Has to swing away from the checking of Gartner. Now to the near side. He's swinging back, and Gartner's the only man there, and Propp's not getting any help. Now up ice he comes past Gartner, right-winging it into the zone to Sinisalo. Tries to drop a pass. That was to nobody in particular. The Flyers keep it in. Eklund looks. Shot! Oh, he banged it off the short side post. And the Caps got a break there as they let him penetrate, trying to cut off the pass that they apparently thought was coming to the slot area to Kerr. And Eklund was given the corner and just failed to connect. Flyers through. Kerr a drop pass. Eklund keeps it in along the left side. Drops it back beautifully to the point. Left side to Crossman. He's there. Takes the shot into Eklund. Pass in front. No play by Kerr. There's a slap shot and from the right side by Sinisalo, and Mason ate that one up. As the Flyers have 20 seconds left on the penalty, it's cleared to the blue line, kept in by Philadelphia. Sinisalo to Eklund, into the point, trying to find Crossman coming in from the blue line. Skips past him into center ice. 7 seconds left on the power play. Offside as Propp penetrates. Crossman going in a stride too soon. 6 seconds remaining on the penalty to Rod Langway. He has 18 minutes on the year. 12:07 remaining first period. 1-0 Philadelphia. The Flyers and yours truly and Bobby will be in the Island tomorrow night at 7.
Flyers have picked up 2 shots on this power play opportunity with 6 seconds remaining in that penalty to Rod Langway. But, Gene, they really are looking for Tim Kerr in that area to the side of the net. And even goaltender Mason was. He's playing away over to the middle of the net, expecting that pass. And Eklund really fooled him with that quick shot, and he hit it square. The goalpost, that is.
Derek Smith with Tocchet and Ron Sutter. They accounted for the goal. Tocchet from Marsh on a rebound shot. The puck is taken off by the Caps up to Langway. He's out of the box, but he can't control. Langway's back on the defense with Barrett, and up front they go Hallworth with Adams. Now off goes Langway, and Laughlin is on. So it's Murphy back with Barrett and Laughlin up front, along with Hallworth and Laughlin. Here they come, and Greg Adams into the zone. Right winging into the corner goes Murphy. Tries a pass, blocked off, and a nice drive by Ron Sutter to keep it in his own corner. Now he's delayed on a check by Hallworth. Laughlin in there along with Philadelphia's Howe. The 4 of them battle. Now Greg Adams wheels it around to the offensive left side for John Barrett. Back in the corner, Adams will come to the near left side of Hextall. Boom, he's bumped, but comes out of that check in front. Shot, rebound, and there's a scramble in front. And out of the pack comes Philadelphia's Howe, and he ices it. As the Caps certainly have jammed the net to effect through the first half of this period.
You know, Ron Hextall has made a number of big saves in this first part of the period already, and if you've yet to see this sensational rookie play, here's your chance. Good tickets are still available for next Tuesday's game with St. Louis, plus the following Thursday's match with the new and up-and-coming Hartford Whalers. You can purchase these tickets at the Spectrum, any of the Showcase stores, or the Ticketron outlets of the Delaware Valley.
Pavanka with Gould and Duchesne for the Caps on this offensive right circle face-off. Blum back with Langway and the Flyers counter with Zezel, Sinisalo, and Craven. They have Crossman out with Brad Marsh. Race Capanello, the draw out of Guelph, Ontario. 16th year in the league. Flyers clear, and the boards don't work as the Caps pick it off. Keep it in along the Flyers' defensive left side. Gould in there, and out of that pack comes Zezel. Just shovels the pass, might fleet to Marsh, and up through to Sinisalo at center ice. Hold, and then drills it in, and Zezel in pursuit along with Blum behind the Washington net. Good check. Blum goes down, so does Zezel. The puck almost kicks off the Craven. Then back in the near point where Marsh goes in deep to keep Gould from coming out. The Caps wind it around to their left side. There is Langway getting past the check of Zezel and through to Pavanka at center ice. Coming along with Gould over the line. Tries a little reverse pass for Gould and then hits a Flyer skate. Taken and sent along the near side to Crossman. Crossman at the cap line, works now and circles back at center. Left side drop to Marsh, drive from the neutral zone, off the right elbow of Mason, into Sinisalo, around behind the net, centers to Zezel. Broken up, Zezel has a shot from an angle. In front, they poke at it. Oh, and Craven almost had a couple of good opportunities, and the last stolen away by the goaltender, Bob Mason. 10:04 remaining, first period from the Cap Center in Landover. Flyers 1, Washington no score.
If there's one thing I've tried to teach my linebackers over the years, it's don't get faked out. Hold your ground, keep your head up, use your eyes, then pursue. Same goes for businesses. If you want to reach customers when they're ready to buy, the Genuine Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages is the book you want. If you want your ad to hit with maximum impact, don't be fooled. Advertise in the Genuine Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. They wrote the book.
Offensive right circle face-off for Philadelphia. Prop Kerr and Eklund on, along with McCrimmon and Howe, and the Capitals counter with Christian, Gartner, and Francis-Getty. Murphy back on the defense. There it goes to the point. Shot smothered off the stick of McCrimmon into the Caps' defensive right corner, where Gartner takes it and flips it into the neutral zone. Controlled and carried back to his own line by McCrimmon. Left side's it for Howe. Right side pass is blocked at center by Prop. Through to Eklund over the cap line. Shot on Mason, and he grabs him and will hang on as Prop is right in on top of him. I've never seen Pelle Eklund in recent times so aggressive offensively carrying the puck, Bobby.
Well, you talk to him, Gene, and he knows full well that the teams are starting to read him now. He's trying to gain that blue line stop and then make a play, and he's a very intelligent player, and he's starting to use his shot more, and Mike Keenan has been after him to do that, as well as E.J. McGuire and Paul Holmgren. He has a pretty fair shot. You know, not an outstanding one like a Howe, per se, but he has a pretty good one. And I think it surprises a lot of people that the velocity that he does have behind him.
Brian Murray tried to make a late change, bringing out Grant Martin for Francis-Getty, but that was waved off by Newell. Kerr against Dave Christian. Offensive left side for Philadelphia in the cap zone. Jerry Gauthier wants everyone lined up. He has two people in the circle, and Murphy gets out, as does Eklund. And I think we're set for the drop of the puck. Rolls to the Cap defense. Murphy around to Stevens. Up on the left side, Francis-Getty is able to redirect past the Philadelphia defense and down deep in the Flyer zone. Howe behind the net, chased on one side by Gartner, on the other by Christian, but gets it to the near side. There's a steal as pressure was put on by Christian, and Gartner goes left side to Francis-Getty. He's bumped, but the puck is taken by Gartner deep in along the offensive left side to Francis-Getty. Pass blocked, back to the point. Stevens with a drive. Score!
Francis-Getty came right through that goal crease, and that's what Hextall's arguing about, but Newell is not buying it. And they tie the hockey game on that blast from the point. Comes at 10:41 of this first period. The Flyers looked like they might have had this puck, but what the play was called on is that Eklund was moving towards the puck, but his stick was held by the Washington Capital. Mike Gartner, he couldn't get out there, and Stevens had all the time in the world to tee it up and just blast it over the pad of Ron Hextall.
Scott Stevens.
Hextall got a piece of it, but not enough, and Stevens picks up the goal to tie this hockey game. And for Stevens, that's number 5, and it comes at 10:41.
Well, that's a position in the regular season that the Caps have not enjoyed at any point in the game. They are tied. At this juncture in the previous two, they were already down 3 and 4-0. Now that should spark them at home ice. Remember, they're winless in 8. They haven't won since they beat Chicago here November the 8th, 3-2. They're 0-4-4. Puck behind Mason. And John Barrett on the defense with Langway to the far side. Then Derek Smith runs over a check, a screen check by Greg Adams. The Flyers battle in the offensive right corner. Allworth in there along with Langway, and Derek Smith with Philadelphia's Ron Sutter. Then it's finally taken by the Caps and shot to center ice. Flyers have it. And that goal is an evidence of Philadelphia with possession and blindly throwing it up on the side, and Stevens set up the goal. Unforced error. Now there's a knockdown at center ice by Ron Sutter. Gets it off to the Flyer goal scorer at 14 seconds of the game. Rick Tocchet. Tocchet stick handling, gave it right away to Scott Stevens. Had trouble handling. Through to Gould down that right side. Shot wide of the net. Steered to the far boards to Tocchet. And Tocchet slams it off the defenseman Stevens to center ice. And the Caps, obviously sparked by that, are in full bloom right now and going in for checking. There's a play by Duchesne behind the net against Crossman. Centering play in front. And Philadelphia's Hextall tapped it off to the near side to Carson. Rink wide off the board to CrossFit in the neutral zone. Through to Knockbauer on for the first time. Lost in Pavanka comes back with Gould 2-on-2 against McCrimmon and Marsh. There's a shot. Hextall to save off the far glass. Flyers trying to get out along their right side. It rolls to the blue line, but not out. Kept in by the goal scorer, Steven. He loses it, works into the slot, goes right side to Murphy off the board. His shot, and the save by Hextall. And the Flyers dig it out along the right side as Gould was knocked down in front of the Philadelphia net. McCrimmon now into the zone. Lance thought there was interference there to Dave Brown. Brown rubs out Scott Stevens. Flyers try to pick it up on the offensive right side. Centering play aimlessly to the point. McCrimmon a shot. That hit the Cap Stevens off the top of the helmet and ricochets to Murphy. And the Caps have really turned up a notch on the game after that goal. A lot of indecision as the Flyers have buried them twice before, but now they're even with 7:04 remaining first period from Washington. Caps and Flyers tied at 1.
There's still time.
The Camera Shop Incorporated and Minolta bring you the future during a tremendous 4-day sale with the latest camera and video technology. Now through Sunday, save on our entire line of Minolta products, like the autofocus programmable Minolta Maxim 5000 with lens, or the Minolta 8mm camcorder with infrared autofocus. Enjoy pre-holiday savings on the Minolta AF Tele with built-in standard and telephoto lens. Also save on flashes and lenses. But hurry, this sale ends Sunday.
I promise, you can depend on us at the Camera Shop where the focus is on you. 1-1 the score. We've played 12 minutes and 56 seconds into this first period.
Jim Thompson on the right side. He was the leader of penalty minutes in the American Hockey League at Binghamton. On the left, Ivan Korovo. First chance the Flyers have had to see this OHL pick of the Capitals, who had 50 or more goals last year. Puck in the Flyer zone. Korovo is after Zezel. They collide around to the far side. Langway keeps it in to Korovo behind the net. Back in front, quick shot, wet wide off the stick of Dave Christian. The Flyers now, for the first time in the defensive posture, get it up to Sinisalo, and then a blind pass intended for Zezel. Spun off by Jim Thompson. Boom, check on Blum at center ice. Puck up for grabs, and here comes Sinisalo over the line. Reverses to Zezel. Zezel is pulled down from behind by Blum, and that one was missed. This play kicks to the Flyer line to Marsh. Off to the right, the Hospital on for the first time. Rink-wide pass. Off Craven and into the Cap zone in front of Mason. Taken around and wound up on the right side to Thompson by Blum. Thompson's pass smothered at center ice. Taken away from Francischetti by Marsh to make sure that his stick is up as Francischetti comes eyeball to eyeball. Then off to Murphy, and Murphy's pass kicks back into the Capital zone, and it's an offside as the Flyers had not left the zone with the puck coming out and going back in. 6:01 remaining first period, tied at 1. The penalties are tied at 2. The shots tied at 9.
I'll tell you, the one guy that I haven't seen kill penalties an awful lot for this Capital club against the Flyers anyway has been Gardner, and with his speed and his tenacity, you would think he'd be a very good penalty killer for them, but he was in that first period, that first penalty power play opportunity the Flyers had. He is struggling as well. Bobby Carpenter, of course, everybody knows now that he will not play for the Washington Capitals anymore, and he is being traded. Where and when? Well, no one seems to know, but I guess David Boyle.
Sutter, Smith, and Tocchet for Philadelphia with Daigneault and Crossman. And it is Adams along with Laughlin, centered by Haworth. And they've got back Stevens with Murphy. Caps up through the middle, and a nice three-way passing play to Laughlin. Pull down from behind, and Dave Newell looks on impassively.
He's not going to call much tonight. I thought he'd call everything, and he isn't.
Flyers try to come out to the side. Played, there's a shot in front by Adams, and grabbed by Ron Hextall. And ever since the goal on the giveaway, the Caps have been ferocious. 5:43 remaining first period, tied at 1.
For over 100 years, Wolverine has been making boots for men who work for a living.
Available at Schuster Shoes in Wallows, Berlin, New Jersey.
The best line that Washington has had so far this season has been Haworth, Laughlin, and Greg Adams, and they've been getting most of the offense for the club. Here's a shot that Hextall had an easy save, and of course with those quick hands, he's able to corral that rebound very quickly.
Sutter against Haworth is on with Adams, Laughlin, Murphy, and Stevens. The Flyers with Tocchet, Derek Smith, Hospodar, and Marsh. The Flyers win the draw, and Hospodar sends it all the way past Murphy, who pulls down Derek Smith, and it's going to be an icing as Stevens gets after. Well,
you know what? Are you wondering what to get the Flyers fan on your Christmas list? How about a permanent remembrance of the Flyers' first Stanley Cup? That's right, Stanley Cup 1, a 2-hour video showing Rick McLeish's cup-winning goal and Bernie Parent's great shutout goaltending. Kate Smith sings God Bless America and much more. And it's now available in both VHS and Beta. These tapes can be purchased at the Spectrum, the Showcase stores, or any of your local video outlets. Well, at least most of the video outlets. Or you can get it by mail by sending $49.95 plus $2 to Flyers Video, the Spectrum, Philadelphia, 19148.
No personnel changes. Haworth, Adams, Laughlin, Murphy, and Stevens for the Caps. And it is Derek Smith with Tocchet and Ron Sutter for Philadelphia, Hospodar, and Marsh. To the point, there's a screen off, Murphy in front, shot, and the splits by Hextall to grab, as Adams did a great job of cutting off Derek Smith's pursuit of the point shooter.
They've been doing that quite well. In fact, it was the result of the goal there as Gartner held on to Eklund's stick as he was trying to go to the net, or to the boards where he was supposed to be. But quick shot, and again, the Flyers, Marsh holding off Laughlin as well, not allowing him to get to the front of the net, which allowed Ron Hextall to see that shot all the way from the point. So two pretty good plays, one by Adams to prevent the Flyers from checking the shooter, and one by Marsh to prevent the Capitals from screening Ron Hextall.
Still an offensive right circle face-off for the Caps. Haworth against Philadelphia Sutter. Scapanello, the linesman, drops up for grabs in the corner. Haworth takes it around, looks to center. There's a man in front, and Greg Adams missed the side on a perfect setup. Puck rolled in on the net, and Hextall says enough of that and ices it himself. It'll go to the goal line, and we'll have a stoppage of play. And the Caps scored at 10:41, and in the next 5 minutes, they've dominated play. Now out shooting Philadelphia 12-9.
Well, I don't know about dominating it, but they've had the number of shots, one shot, and then that's it. But the thing is, what they're winning is the face-offs. That's where they've been dominating. They've been controlling that puck in the zone with the face-off. The Flyers have lost the last 4 straight face-offs, and that's something that you can't do, especially in your defensive zone.
Well, finally, we're having a unit change. Philadelphia with McCrimmon and Howe out there. Still Tocchet with Sutter, and now Murray Craven out for Derek Smith. And the Caps counter with Christian, Francischetti, and Gartner defensively. Murphy on the right, Stevens, who has the Cap goal, on the left. Flyers will be on Philly 57 tomorrow night at 7 from the Nassau County Coliseum against the Hot Islanders. Murphy goes to the left side, Stevens off the boards at the hash marks, drive, and that was tipped to the short side, to the outside of the net, nicely by Christian, as the Caps have the puck and then see it go to center ice. Gartner has it there, gives it away at center. Philadelphia off the left boards and into the zone, but played by Christian to Stevens and away. Looking for Gartner at center ice. Derek Smith gets out there to intercept. Flyers control at their own line and put it up the middle. And into the Cap zone comes Derek Smith. Spins to his left, shoots off the stick of Mike Murphy, or Larry Murphy, from the top of the Flyers' offensive left circle, deflected into the end seats, and that's where the face-off will be.
Mike Keenan really expected that very quick start for the Washington Capitals, and anytime they've been successful against the Philadelphia Flyers, and especially here at the Cap Center, they've had that quick start, so he had prepared his hockey club to expect it, although the Flyers got the first goal at the 14-second mark.
Eklund, Kerr, Prop, Crossman, and Daigneault on the Caps counter, with Christian at center ice, Gould on one side, Duchesne on the other, with Langway and Hatcher just inside the Cap line along the Flyer left wing. Puck drop. Eklund had his stick held by Pavanka, and the puck comes to center ice. Foot race down that far side, and Daigneault beats Duchesne to it, but loses it, and then a dump in from the corner is cleared away to the Flyers' left side. Prop and then sends it all the way down, and after it is Langway just shy of the goal line. He's chased by Kerr, bumps it against the boards to Duchesne. He's bumped behind the net. The puck is up for grabs. And there goes Eklund. Can't reach the puck. And out comes Gaetan Duchesne to Hatcher. DeGould at center ice. Now Hatcher has to take a deflection. Goes to the left side in the neutral zone. And Langway at the red line drives it cross ice into the offensive right corner off the glass. Crossman quickly around to the far side to Kerr. And outlets nicely to the left wing at center ice for Propp. But Propp 1-on-3 tried to go through to Eklund, but the Caps were there to take it up, and Pavanka back into the Philadelphia zone, overskates the puck, and it's cleared up to Timmy Kerr at center. Right winging into the zone. Eklund can't handle it. Comes out to center with 3:30 remaining first period. We're tied at 1. Both teams changing on the go. Gould waits and shoots in on Hextall. Gloves, and then plays up on the left side where Craven takes it out at the red line, a wraparound behind Mason. Offensive right side. Sinisalo was in there, bumped by Stevens. Flyers trying to dig it out. Cross ice to Marsh, who set up the first goal. Drive just off the inside of the skate of goaltender Mason, and the Flyers good gesture. Now Zezel out in front, backhander. That's smothered. Down goes Murphy as he tried to take Sinisalo out, and the Caps up on the left wing at center ice. Ivan Corvo a wraparound behind Hextall, and Hextall just plays up on that same wing to Sinisalo, and out off the skate. Flyers lose it. Kept in by Thompson. Shot wide to the right of Hextall, and the Flyers will try again as Hospodar gets it into the neutral zone. His number 17 counterpart, Blum, puts it right back down behind Hextall. Hextall looks high off the glass, blocked in by Blum, and then off his shoulder and down the ice to the near side as Blum took a run at Craven. 2:30 remaining first period. Thompson up at center ice. A rink-wide pass intended for the breaking Greg Adams is off the skate, down behind the Philadelphia net. Marsh out there now with McCrimmon. McCrimmon's quick pass to Don Knockbauer is out there along with Brown and Lindsey Carson. A wraparound again behind Mason. John Barrett overskates, but Greg Adams doesn't. Turns and starts up with Gartner on his left. Coming to the Flyer line against Howe. Trying to turn Howe. Howe takes him into the boards. Gartner follows up in the corner, and the Flyers will dig out the loose puck. Smartly through to Knockbauer with Brown 2-on-2. Coming against Blum and Barrett. Now Knockbauer is hit hard by Blum. Rolls it around behind the Washington net. Barrett is there, falls in the puck, and we may have a stoppage. No, it's still there loose. Flyers have just one man back, and out of that corner comes Dave Brown. Tries to poke it in and chase, but John Barrett will not let him. And then the Caps come to the near side, and we're going to have a penalty against Brown for following up against the defenseman of the Washington Capitals. It looks like Brown will go off. We'll make sure after we tell you. 1:38 remain in the first period from Washington as the Caps and Flyers tied at 1.
The 1986 Indianapolis 500 champion, Bobby Rahal, winner of the fastest Indy in history. Continuing the winning tradition of Budweiser racing teams, Bobby took the checkered flag to win the Indianapolis 500. Racing fans, this Bud's for you.
Brown, his second penalty of the game, and the Flyers' third of 5 whistled by Dave Newell. It's for high sticking Barrett. And the Caps were 0 for 1 on the advantage, but attacked very strongly when they had the first pop at 3:19. Pavanka will be out with Gartner. Duchesne, who's the corner man. Stevens, a shooter, and the quarterback at the right side is Dave Christian. Flyers go McCrimmon and Howe, and Propp with Ron Sutter. Just outside the Washington line along the Flyer right wing, Jerry Gauthier setting them up properly. Puck is dropped. Flyers have it to Howe on the near side. He'll be chased by Gartner. Just gets it through at center ice to Propp. And Propp now tries to go through to Ron Sutter, but the Caps wheel it back to Pavanka. Spins off to his left, and then they go around the horn to Stevens, to Christian, back to Stevens. Looks for an outlet on the left wing at center ice. Duchesne threw off the stick of Pavanka deep into the offensive right corner. Gartner in there with Howe, takes Howe down on the puck, and will probably get a stoppage. And the Caps will get an offensive right circle face-off with 1:09 remaining in the first period. 1:31 on the penalty to Brown, who now has 86 penalty minutes on the year. Tocchet, his 9th from Marsh at 14 seconds. Stevens, unassisted, his 5th for Washington to tie it at 10:41. But it's been a pretty dominant Washington club, it appears to me, over the last 10 minutes, as they've carried much of the action. And the Flyers have had a sporadic shot here or there, but they've been buzzing in the Flyer zone through much of the latter part of this opening session. Gartner will take the draw. Duchesne left, Pivanka right, with Murphy now on the right side instead of Christian and Stevens. Flyers still McCrimmon and Howe, but now Zezel is out with Ron Sutter. Remember, defensive face-off, they like to get two men, Sutter and Zezel. In case one man is thrown out, they're not at a disadvantage with another fine centerman to follow. Gartner against Zezel. Key draw at this juncture. It comes back in the Flyers' corner. Hextall is out there, wheels it up, and it goes right to Murphy. Murphy angling to the middle of the blue line. Left side to Stevens, winds up, shot. Nice kick save by Hextall. Deep rebound off the glass to the near side and cleared down by Zezel. The angle of the stick had it fly off the glass so firmly that it came way out in front between the circles on the ricochet. We have 47 seconds left in the period. Stevens up on the right side to Murphy, through against Howe. Turns Howe on the right side, who leaned the wrong way. Goes in at the hash mark. Gartner back at the point, but he's just as effective a shooter. Holds, trying to draw over Philadelphia's Prop, who's out there along with Ron Sutter. Left side to Stevens. Stevens spins inside Prop, goes behind the net. There's Gaetan Duchesne with the puck. Flyers McCrimmon and Howe along with Prop and Ron Sutter. And they almost get jammed in. They go back in the corner. Pivanka is very clever with the puck. Has a turn with Duchesne, who goes back in the corner. Crosses to Gartner off the right boards at the point. Shot! Just tipped wide, and boy, Pivanka got a stick on it. That shows how quick his hands are. Back to the point, 9 seconds left. Into the near circle, backhand shot, kicked away, and Pivanka takes it with 5 seconds left. One chance left for Stevens. Drive, and that's deflected wide, and we come to the end of a sparkling first period. Owned by the Flyers the first half and taken back by the Caps in the second. Tocchet's 9th from Marsh at 14 seconds for Philadelphia. Stevens unassisted at 10:41. Flyers had 3 of the game's 5 penalties. And the last one to Brown will work 22 seconds into the second period. Flyers are outshot by the Caps 15-10. Those are your numbers after 20 minutes of play from the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. The Philadelphia Flyers won and the Washington Capitals won as we return to our Philly 57 host, the Doc, Mike Emmerich.
Thank you, Gene. Coming up in this intermission, Bobby Taylor will be getting observations on those first 20 minutes with defenseman J.J. Daigneault. Also, we'll take a check of the out-of-town scores, invite you to write to the voice Gene Hart, and also check on what else is coming up tonight in the National Hockey League. All that as our coverage of the Flyers on the radio network and Philly 57 continues in just a moment.
Did you know mortgage rates are the lowest they've been in 10 years? Now's the time to refinance your home at a lower rate and save thousands. Even if you have an existing second mortgage loan or need one, Freelander can refinance your home with one payment lower than you're currently paying. We'll tell you how much you can save right on the phone.
Wow! Hey, guys! Check out this neat toy fire truck from Hess. Look, flashing red lights, headlights, taillights, and a ladder that goes way up to the sky. He's putting money in that bank in the back.
The Hess toy fire truck at Hess gasoline stations. $5.49. 2 Eveready batteries included.
Uh-oh. Looks like we're about to lose our truck.
Mom and Dad, get one for your pups this Christmas.
Hey, where's the fire?
A lot of you rent Caterpillar lift trucks from Ransom Lift, and that's smart, because most of these trucks are just a few years old. But too often when you're done with our trucks, you send them back, and that's dumb. Why? Because many times our rental trucks are in far better shape than the ones you own. In fact, once you rent a Ransom Lift truck, you'll probably want to keep it. Since you can apply your rental payments towards the purchase price, go ahead, keep it.
The NIT Preseason Classic kicks off the 1986-87 NCAA basketball season in November. Philly 57 puts you center court as a glamorous 16-team field, including powerhouses Villanova, Notre Dame, Michigan, and Bradley, compete to advance to the finals. Played at New York's prestigious Madison Square Garden. That's the NIT Preseason Classic. Saturday night at 10, immediately following the Flyers hockey game here on Philly 57.
Little trivia, the Flyers have had so many splendid French-Canadian players, especially Bernie Parent. The last French-Canadian player before our first intermission guest was a gentleman named Yves Preston back in the early 80s. We go to the other one now, J.J. Daigneault and Bob Taylor.
Thanks very much, Doc. Well, JJ, 21 games now. You've been a Philadelphia Flyer, and I'm just wondering, how is it? Of course, it feels great because we're in first place, but the adjustment, has it been a difficult one for you?
Well, it's been a little difficult at first, you know, to get to know my players, you know, the other 19 players I'm playing with, and also the new system that I had to play with, and well, the Flyer system are so it's such a hard-working team that I had to come every game to the rink and play with consistency. So that's the thing that I had to get adjust the most.
This is a club, too, that always has a winning attitude, and I would think that has to be a treat coming from a team that didn't win very often.
Yeah, well, everybody comes to the rink, and everybody's motivated. Everybody wants to play hockey, and everybody likes to play with each other, and that's that's the big difference I noticed. You know, when you lose a lot of games in a hockey club, you don't come to the rink, and you're not too motivated. But here, you know, the management want the teams to win, and you know, the team wants to win, and the players too, so everybody's motivated, and that's why the team's doing so well.
Are you getting used to the area now? Are you starting to find your way around the Philadelphia and South Jersey?
Well, you know, the best thing to do the best thing that I did is drive around and get lost a few times, and right now I'm all right. I found my way around there pretty good.
Tonight's game, of course, Washington, everybody expected them to come out very quickly, and that's something I think that you have to really weather the storm. And did everything go pretty well by game plan that Mike talked to you about?
Well, you know, last time we played there, we had a pretty good start, and we were leading the Caps 4-0 after the first period, if I remember. So, we came into tonight's game, and we wanted to have a good start again. And, after this first period, 1-1, we're right where we want to be. So, we're looking forward for a big 40 minutes of hockey.
This is usually a very physical game when these two teams meet. In fact, probably more physical than a lot of the games that you play. And do you have to adjust your style at all when that happens?
Well, the Caps has very big wingers, and they have a good forechecking team. They dump the puck in a lot, and they forecheck us defensemen. So, the important thing for us is to, as soon as we get to the puck, is to make sure that it goes out as soon as possible. Because, first of all, we're going to put ourselves in trouble, and we're not going to put our wingers in trouble. So that's what we're trying to do.
Well, it's worked well so far. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
J.J. Daigneault, our guest, and our intermission activities will continue, but first we'll take these timeouts.
David J. Jewelers of Drescher won't let time pass you by, offering one of the largest selection of Seiko clocks and timepieces in the Delaware Valley. David J. Jewelers in the Dreschertown Plaza.
Here's what's new. Sergio, great. Look, I'm really sorry that I ran off last time.
Tell him what's new.
Well, I couldn't wait to get my new Oldsmobile Delta 88.
Tell him what's new.
Okay. The Olds Connection dealers announce a holiday lease program. Until December 31st, you can lease a luxuriously equipped front-wheel drive Delta 88 and save thousands of dollars.
Thousands? I'm getting one.
Everyone's rushing to lease a Delta 88 at their Olds Connection dealer. It's the best news of the year.
As your transmission, I refuse to haul this load till I get a Cotman checkup.
Suit yourself. Cotman fixes transmissions proper, honest, and fast.
Cotman promised I'd be ready by 5. Where were you?
I thought they were just saying that.
Don't touch me, Joan.
That's why we're growing strong as a nationwide chain of independent dealers.
Could you read that part about never paying for transmission repairs again?
All right. The Cotman Lifetime Guarantee. Come up to Cotman.
When you buy this new TV and VCR, you'll spend $800 or more. When you lease them from me, you'll spend just $47.91 a month. When you buy them, you buy all the maintenance problems. When you lease from me, repairs and service are free. And leasing lets you upgrade to better or bigger. Simple as that. So why buy when leasing's the way to go? So lease from ReadyVision. It's smarter than buying.
Hope you're enjoying the game. I'm Randy Cox from WYSP, and we're about to put the names up on the screen of people who want to go on the road with the Flyers. If you haven't entered yet, send a postcard to Flyers Getaway, 420 North 20th Street, Philadelphia, 19130. And be sure to include your day and evening phone numbers. Okay, here are those lucky people. Don't forget you have 57 minutes to call the number on the screen to be eligible to win a trip. The next drawing will be December 23rd to see the Flyers in L.A. Listen to WYSP, mail in your postcards, and watch the Flyers on Philly 57.
Score is 1-1. The Flyers and the Washington Capitals were between periods 1 and 2. We're going to be giving you an address in just a moment. If you'd like to write Gene Hart, ask him any question about the game of hockey. You may even want to throw in your own trivia question, because Gene's pretty good at it. We'll give you that address in just a moment. But first, there are 4 other games taking place in the National Hockey League tonight. A check of the scoreboard shows that Scott Arneal and Phil Housley have scored for Buffalo in a 2-0 lead over Boston in the first period. You realize that Buffalo has only 11 points this year, and 5 of them have come at the expense of the Bruins. Hunter and Yzerman the goals in the St. Louis-Detroit game. There are 2 other contests tonight, Toronto, Minnesota, and Chicago and Edmonton. The first of Gene's mailbox shows will be coming your way Saturday when we broadcast the Boston Bruins Flyers game. So get those cards and letters in now. If you have a question about hockey, write to Gene's mailbox. That's Gene's mailbag, 420 North 20th Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19130. Our coverage of the Flyers and the Washington Capitals on Philly 57 and the radio network will continue in just a moment.
We were working Bella, Pennsylvania Yellow Pages when...
But I just bought a Yellow Pages ad.
This the book?
No.
With this Bella, Pennsylvania name on it?
That's not it.
Then it wasn't the genuine Bella, Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. The one 99% of the public knows on sight. The one they turn to when they're ready to buy. The only Yellow Pages you need. You see, friend, somebody got you to advertise in a strange directory.
Well, what do you know?
Sir?
I guess somebody took me for a ride.
Don't be fooled. Advertise in the genuine Yellow Pages from Bella, Pennsylvania. We wrote the book.
You know what drives me nuts about Philadelphia? It's not the Schuylkill, it's not the taxes, it's the radio stations. Check it out.
Hey, kids, it's the Morning Zoo!
I mean, I'm supposed to make a choice here? Why isn't there a radio station that plays only great classic rock and roll? Like this.
There is. 94 WISP. Howard Stern all morning. Classic rock and roll all day.
Well, come on over, baby. Real November dealing going on.
Toyota dealers want to make this the November to remember for great deals. You're going to remember this first big sales event of the new model year. Lots of 87s in stock. They want a deal on the all-new Camrys, exciting new FX16s, and Tercels. Don't forget, it's a last year sales tax is deductible. Your last chance to save hundreds more dollars. Make this your November to remember.
Who could ask for anything more?
See your Toyota dealer now.
Who's winning the Pennsylvania Lottery Super 7? The Shippers 10 of York, PA. You won $4 million on one ticket playing Super 7? And you guys, the Allentown 11. How much did you win on one ticket?
$12 million!
$12 million? How'd you pick the 7 numbers? Quick 7! The computer picked your numbers. So, how do you feel now?
Yeah!
Super Jackpot Super 7. Play today.
Brian Trottier and Doug Smale have the NHL record for the fastest goal at the start of a game, 5 seconds. The first Flyers goal didn't set a record, but it wasn't far away. It took only 14 seconds for the Flyers to score. After Kevin Hatcher had given the puck away to Rick Tocchet for one shot, the puck came to Marsh for a slap shot. Mason saved, but Tocchet turned home his 9th of the year. Tocchet had put the first shot on Mason from the right circle at 8 seconds. Marsh got the second one at 12 seconds, and Tocchet collected the game's first goal at the 14-second mark of the first period of play. Marsh got the only assist. Just over 10 minutes later, Scott Stevens tied it. The Flyers tried to control, then they tried to clear, but Stevens was ideally positioned at the left point and blasted his 5th of the year off the glove of Tocchet. Pelle Eklund was kept from getting to Stevens for a block attempt because his stick was being held by Mark Gartner. So through 10 minutes and 41 seconds of the first period, the teams were tied. Stevens' goal came unassisted. And with little worry at Cap Center about hair loss or the shortage of crimson face paint, the fans went on to celebrate. Those are our Flyers highlights through the first period of play. Bear in mind that Washington will have the power play when the second period begins. We'll be back with the start of the second period in just a moment.
Hi. Cotman promised I'd be ready by 5. Where were you?
I thought they were just saying that.
Don't touch me, Joan.
Sorry.
Come up to Cotman.
Did you just make your mortgage payment? Call Friedlander. We'll tell you how much you could have saved.
For the same reasons you don't rely on anyone else here, you no longer have to rely on anyone else there. Federal Express now flies to Europe.
feeling low. Under the sea? No. The North Pole? Time to where there's fun for all. To a fun KB Toy Store Mall.
At your nearby KB Toy Store, you'll have great fun shopping for exciting toys. Like Hasbro's Gem, a new fashion doll that can mysteriously transform into the hottest rock singer to hit the stage.
Fun for all, KB.
Believe me, I've seen it all, and this is the best I've ever seen. Let me tell you something. From entertainment to just taking care of you, they treat everybody like a king. Especially if you are one. Hey, this is a castle.
Trump's Castle, the crown jewel of Atlantic City.
Flyers Hockey is being brought to you in part by the Olds Connection, your local Oldsmobile dealer, who urges you to get a special holiday lease deal on a Cutlass or other new Olds before December 31st. And by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beer. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
Before returning to Cap Center for the start of the second period, another update on the out-of-town scoreboard. A couple of teams that have been struggling. Toronto has only one win in the last 5 games, and Minnesota only one win in the last 7. They're playing tonight at the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota, and the North Stars have scored a couple of goals early in the first period of play. So that game is 2-0 in the first. One other game later on tonight, Chicago will be playing at Edmonton. In a rare situation, the Oilers are in a position where they can move back into first place if they get a tie or a win. Normally, they have first practically the entire season, and Chicago also struggling. Patrick Division standings show the Flyers clearly on top. Pittsburgh is idle tonight. The Flyers are making up one of 2 games in hand on the Penguins, so a victory here could put them 6 points ahead of Pittsburgh. And they would also be gaining ground on other idle teams tonight, the Islanders and the New Jersey Devils. New York Rangers are also not in action this evening. Flyers Farm Club is playing tonight. We hope to have a final score on that one during our next intermission. The Hershey Bears are playing the division-leading New Haven Nighthawks at New Haven. Now back to Cap Center.
From the Cap Center, we're going to pause for station identification. The Flyers Hockey Network.
This is Philly 57, WGBS in Philadelphia.
On Tuesday night, the Flyers will meet the always tough St. Louis Blues, and there's still good seats available. You can purchase them at the Spectrum, the Showcase stores, or any of the Ticketron outlets. That's this Tuesday night. It's the Flyers and the Blues at the Spectrum.
Yeah, they're always tough. They won that game 1972, and they're going to come right back in 1986 and see if they can win another one.
Well, I just read them.
Jacques Martin said, I have never lost a game in Philadelphia, the new coach of the Blues. All right, the Flyers will start this period with 22 seconds remaining on the penalty to Dave Brown, and will be defending left. Hextall to the right. Bob Mason was victimized in his one start against Philadelphia in that game. He gave up 4 goals in the first period and then disappeared.
He played pretty well that first period, Gene. As you mentioned, if Eklund scores on that shot that hits the post, it might be different, but he made a couple of big saves. One off Craven in particular, when it was a rebound shot right beside the net there. He was very quick to cover.
McCrimmon and Howe, along with Propp and Ron Sutter. On the right side, Laughlin. On the left, Adams, centered by Hallworth, and defensively Murphy and Stevens. I noted to Bob that 10 of the first 15 shots. Oh, there's a steal. Going right in is Hallworth. He goes to shoot and was hooked the stick from behind by Howe masterfully. The puck rolls right in on Hextall. I was going to say, Bobby, 10 of 15 shots in the first period by the Caps from defensemen. 5 out of those 10 from Larry Murphy.
Alan Hallworth, the leading goal scorer for the Capitals with 12, tried to produce his 13th, but great recovery by Howe. Ronnie Sutter tried to lay it back to Howe, who wasn't really in position for it. And, of course, Hallworth, with that good speed, was able to try and take advantage of it, but good recovery by Mark Howe.
11 seconds remaining on the Cap advantage. Zezel is out along with Craven. McCrimmon and Howe. Caps with that same unit. Laughlin, Adams, centered by Hallworth, and at the defense, Murphy right side, Stevens left. Stevens with the goal. There goes Zezel to take the puck on the draw, take it away from Hallworth and ice it. And it's set up behind the Cap net right, and that'll pretty well do it, as Brown will come out just as the Caps work the puck out of their zone. He's on now, and the penalty is over. Teams at full strength. Caps the right side. Oh, all alone on the left was Adams as McCrimmon overshifted Adams. He shot from the short side, saved by Hextall. The Flyers coming on the near side. Brown looking to unload right to the blue line where Laughlin picks it off. Into the left wing corner to Hallworth. Trying to go back to the point. Stevens, he winds up. Instead to Hallworth, top of the right circle. Left side pass, a backhand shot. Popped up in the air, knocked down by Adams, and hand passed right to Hallworth, and that should be a stoppage of play.
It is.
I don't know what the argument is.
Good call by Dave Newell, really it was, and Greg Adams knew it exactly as soon as it happened. He really did. Stevens argued, I don't know why he's arguing about it, but a nice play is that puck flipped up off of the skate of the Flyer defenseman McCrimmon. Then all Hallworth did, or Adams did, was knock it down, but instead of picking it up, he just left it for Alan Hallworth. That's a hand pass. Good call by referee Dave Newell.
Not only that, if I can be picky, closed his glove on the puck to control it. That's a penalty. He grab it, turn around, and drop it at their feet for convenience.
Picky.
Well, that's what this game is all about, my friend. All right, we'll have a face-off outside the blue line along the Flyer right wing.
They miss more than most things, Gene, so I always overlook those.
Out there is Blum along with Langway. The puck is cleared into the Flyer zone. Crossman has it there. Up on the near side, and Kerr outlets too far at center. He's on with Eklund and Prop. And the Caps Blum drive wrap around, and it'll be picked right up at center ice by Kerr with the whole play generated. And again, Kerr can't make the control. They give it away at center. Crossman threw along the near side to Prop. Prop is hooked, bangs it off the left boards, and the Caps take it away and come up to Pavanka at center ice. He's got Gould on the left, shoots instead. Wide to the right of Hextall. Duchesne, and then Pavanka puts it into the offensive left corner. Coming out is Gould. Shot. Good. Elbow and shoulder save by Hextall. And the Caps continue to press the Flyers in their zone. Gould around behind the net. Crossman is challenged by Pavanka. They get it up to Prop. Prop is run into by Blum. The puck is kicked behind the Flyer net. Crossman gets a screen from Marsh nicely. Away from Duchesne to Eklund at center ice. And through to Kerr. And again, Kerr can't control. And the Caps take the puck, and we'll start back up to our left. Christian throw to Francis Getty against Crossman. You hear Lou. Crawl right out in front. A shot by Christian. And that missed the net, and that's the second time on a setup of that sort that Christian missed the net. He did so in the first period on the power play.
That's a prime example, Gene, of when a team is struggling, those things happen all the time.
Now we got a two-line offside pass at center ice. 2:12 gone, scoreless second period from Washington. Caps and Flyers tied at 1.
Here's what's new. Our next guest is Autobuff Mr. Buzz. What's new, Buzz? What's new are the front-wheel drive Olds Delta 88. The smooth-riding six-passenger car has a snappy 3.8-liter fuel-injected engine. And until December 31st, you can deduct up to $900 in sales tax.
And don't forget the special holiday lease savings program.
Lease a Delta 88. That's for me.
Everybody's rushing to their Olds Connection dealer for their Delta 88s. It's the best news of the year. Buzz!
We're tied at 1 here as we just played 2 minutes and 12 seconds into the second period.
Sutter, Derek Smith, and Tocchet, McCrimmon and Howe on the Caps counter with Corvo, Grant Martin, and Blum playing the wing along with Murphy and Stevens. Puck at center ice. Derek Smith loses it, and the Flyers have been devoid of a lot of offense for a while as the Caps have been swarming and not allowing them to do much. Puck into the Washington zone. Stevens from Mason up on the near side of Corvo. Drives it deep in the Flyer zone, and then McCrimmon cuts off the pursuit. Corvo and Grant Martin, and then puts the puck up at center. Through the Flyers come. They've got a 2-on-1. Derek Smith with a bullet. Saved by Mason. The rebound taken by the Caps. We're going to have a penalty, and it's going to be an interference or a hold against Corvo for detaining Tocchet. All right, the penalties are even at 3. Flyer power play coming up early second period with the score tied at 1.
Introducing Wendy's new Big Classic Hamburger. This is the good stuff. The soft Kaiser bun, the fat tomatoes. This is the good stuff. The fresh toppings, the beef. This is the good stuff. Wendy's new Big Classic. This is the good stuff.
Well, the Flyers get their second power play opportunity. Corvo holding at .248. He had taken Tocchet out quite well to the side of his net, not allowing the Flyer winger to get back in, but he held on to him a little bit too long, ending up with Tocchet on the ice and Dave Newell calling the minor penalty.
Kerr, Eklund, Sinisalo prop at the right point with Crossman. Langway is on with Blum, and the penalty killer is Gould along with Hallworth. They whack at the puck, Caps control, and Gould will start on the right at the blue line, his own, and then just lets it slide all the way down.
Caps are ranked 19th in penalty killing team.
Well, they've given up 28 power play goals. Here comes Philadelphia. Sinisalo stopped at the line, lost control, and the Caps slide it to center. Prop is there. Chased. Back in his own zone by Francis Getty, who's out there now with Gould, Blum, and Langway. Flyers trying to find an opening. Sinisalo a wraparound. Mason will set it up. Langway in first, around to the right side. A hard wraparound. Kept in by Crossman. Rolls it right back into the Cap zone, but Langway takes it off. Caps are just a good step more aggressive than the Flyers now. Jumping on the puck. Loose puck. Passes. And Flyers have made assorted single-shot sallies the last 15 minutes of the game, but have not been able to sustain. Now they drop it in along the left side. Sinisalo goes back to the point to Crossman. Right side to Prop. Prop is shot. Oh, and Kerr is there, and he shot it right back against the pads of Mason. And just that quickly, Prop and Kerr almost teamed to give the Flyers the lead.
Flyers power play isn't that strong either at this point. It's only 18%, which puts them 16th in the league. So they haven't really been setting the league afire with their power play, something that they had working so well last year. But even in the last 4 games or 5 games or so, Gene, the Flyers have really kept it close for the first 2 periods. Maybe not really playing outstanding hockey, but then really turning it on in the 3rd period to put away a lot of teams. It looks like the same script is for this game here. Playing a very tightly checking style and keeping it close, and then seemingly opening it up in the 3rd and blowing teams away.
What, we lose something out there?
No, a fan got hit with the puck when it was cleared over the glass. So
55 seconds of Corriveau, by the way. 24 penalty minutes on the air, and again the penalties even at 3. Caps 0 for 2 on the advantage. Flyer for 0 for 1 with the half of this one remaining. We have Eklund right, Craven left with Kerr. Prop back at the point still with Crossman. Hallworth with Duchesne, and Stevens with Langway. Offensive right circle, and now Gauthier caught a circle infringement. The Caps take it, give it away to Prop at the point. He can't handle the hard outlet of Scott Stevens, and it slides all the way down. 4 minutes gone second period, 48 seconds on the power play for Philadelphia. Kerr all by himself, left sides into the corner to Eklund, back around behind the net. Kerr is detained. Craven digs it out, trying to go to Prop, misfires, slides it all the way down the ice between Prop and Doug Crossman. 30 seconds remaining on the power play. Flyers now try Eklund up the right side, challenged, and gets it through into the Cap zone. The Caps just shoot it out as the Flyers having trouble hanging on. Now Eklund down that left side to Craven. A wraparound. Mason can't slow it down. Crossman will pick it up right side at the hash marks into the corner to Kerr behind the net. No control for Craven, and there's Duchesne easily putting it to center, and the Caps do a picture job to keep the Flyers away, except for the one shot generated by Prop from the point. Out of the box comes the man, and boom, knocked down at center ice was Craven as he had his back to Corriveau, coming directly from behind out of the penalty box. One step and boom. Puck up at center. Zezel penetrates. He's taken down by Scott Stevens' stick, and that should be a penalty.
He is going to go, and the
Calls at 5:04. Flyer power play coming up once again, early second period. Our game tied at 1.
Beaches far nicer than Nice. Bouillabaisse, the envy of Marseille. Art they marvel at in Paris. Fashion they seek in Milan. Theater like London. Opera like La Scala. Emeralds by the bushel. Jungles that are wild. And nightlife that's even wilder. Eastern to the wonders of Latin America. With more flights from here to more cities there. And our famous El Interamericano service. Eastern, your airline to all the Americas.
Well, the second consecutive power play here in the second period for Philadelphia. That does not make Brian Murray happy, or his assistant coach Ron LaPointe there beside him. Hooking is the call on Scott Stevens. 5:04 the time.
Carrying back to Chicago a week ago Thursday, the Flyers have gone 0 for 10 on the power play. They got a goal early in the third period with Watson off. And they have 2 minutes now. Stevens on the air with 69 minutes. The Caps have now, for the game, 7 penalties. Caps now are really aggressive, and the Flyers have had everything else but a power play. They're swarming in there. Francis-Getty along with Gould. Now Howe outlets right side into the neutral zone. McCrimmon through, and into the zone goes Craven. Left side pass off the skate of Zezel. Caps take it away. Zezel finally gets it back to Howe at the point. He looks, wrists into Zezel, shot, and that's off the stick up into the end seats. The stick of Larry Murphy. Flyers will get an offensive left circle face-off with 5:33 gone in the period, 1:31 remaining on the penalty to Scott Stevens. 1-1 the score.
Well, here's a young man, too, that is moving up there in points, Gene, and they're players that are leading that hockey club in scoring are players you don't really expect. Larry Murphy, as you mentioned, is their top scorer point-wise. Then you got Lachlan, who is another player who really should be like a third line or possibly a second line, and Greg Adams, Pavanka, the rookie, Stevens, another defenseman.
But well, Mike Gartner has 4 goals in 23 games. Carpenter isn't playing, and Christian, who is the other Shotsky, has 5 and 19. It's a wonder they're as good as 7, 11, and 5. Offensive left circle face-off. Alan Hallworth loses it to Zezel, to Howe at the point. In along the left side, Craven, to the right point to McCrimmon. Screen shot, score! Maybe prop.
I think Zezel got it, Gene.
Or Zezel.
Yep. Right at the last.
And Peter, boy, I'm telling you, is he a hot pistol right now?
That's goal number 13 for Zezel, and it comes at 5:40 of this second period. Good low shot by McCrimmon, keeping it low, and then Zezel just deflected it right between the legs of goaltender Mason. And it's such a key that point man keeps that shot low, and McCrimmon has probably one of the better shots in the league from a defense position to keep it low, to get that deflection, and Zezel just puts it through the 5-hole. Goaltenders can sense that deflection. In fact, they even try and set up for that deflection, as they'll try and, as we say, Gene, make themselves big. But there's always an opening between the pads when you do that, and that's where Zezel found it.
Right. Zezel from McCrimmon and Craven at 5:40. 2-1 Philadelphia. Now the Caps ignited again, and they come running at Philadelphia's Howe, and up comes Zezel at center ice. Drives a 70-footer. Mason blocks to the near side. Brown takes a poke at it. But Corriveau for the Capitals tries to come out. Kept in. There goes a shovel pass into Ron Sutter. And a good kick save by Mason. As the Caps say enough of that, send it all the way down. It's going to bounce and roll in on the Philadelphia goal. And Philadelphia's Hextall outlets on the right side to Brown. He tries to go blue line to blue line for Ron Sutter. Corriveau knocks it down, but McCrimmon takes it at center. Penetrates down that right side. Holes puts it into the slot looking for a break. None has had his Hatcher up on that right side out of the Cap zone. Gets it through to Jim Thompson, and he rolls it in the Philadelphia zone. Zezel's 13th, Bobby, comes in the Flyers' 22nd game. He did not get his 13th goal last year until the Flyers' 56th game. Christian now for the Capitals takes the loose puck out of his zone to Francis-Getty. They look for Gartner on the far side. Offensive corner dump. Hextall breaks it up. The puck is kicked back behind the Philadelphia net by Christian, and out breaks Philadelphia. There they go. There goes Derek Smith for the net, but Ron Sutter waits. Tries to hit instead this man on the near side. Tocchet shot blocked by Stevens. There's a play in on the net. They missed the better play, right, Bobby, I think, getting Derek Smith there. Play into the Flyers zone. Rolls to Marsh, and Marsh puts it up at center. It kicks through the Caps into their end. We've played 7.5 into the second period. Zezel's power play goal gives the Flyers a 2-1 lead. There's a chip in front to Tocchet. They couldn't shoot as Gartner got in his way, and the outlet comes to Francis-Getty. Coming with Christian up the middle and Gartner on the far wing. That's the guy breaking for the net. Pass is blocked. Christian tries to dig it out. He's checked along the near side by Knockbauer, and out comes Derek Smith 1-on-2. 80-footer from center ice is wide as he wants to complete a line change. And John Blum for the Caps hits his own player in the back, Gartner. Langway follows up past Kerr. In front and a shot. Kick save. Rebound into the corner to Greg Adams. Adams in front trying to find Hallworth, and it deflects. As the Flyers covered the slot very well, Bobby. Deflects to center. Now into the Flyer zone. A bouncing puck. Off. No clearance. Greg Adams keeps it in off Crossman. Tries to get it in front. The Flyers block it behind. Hallworth is blocked in his try at the puck. Flyers give it away at the point to Langway. He winds up through a screen. Deflected short side, just wide. And Crossman now up the middle to Kerr, has it roll off the stick. It'll go all the way over the Capital goal line, but Kerr's going to try to fight his way in first. Held off smartly by Langway, and touching up as the trailer through was Blum. And they have an icing, and Langway gets up a little slowly. 11:29 remaining in a furiously played second period. 2-1 Philadelphia.
Eddie Hospodar hit Lou Franceschetti a couple of minutes back, Gene, just in the corner there. And Franceschetti went off, bent over, and it might have injured it. We'll have to see if he's going to come back. But Kerr and Langway have really raised the battle here for the first period and a half. They've been giving little extra shots at each other, and of course they're trying to pit their strength against one another. And I think Kerr might have the edge in that department, as he would in about 99.9% of the people in the league.
The Islanders, who have not played since that Tuesday-Wednesday sweep of Pittsburgh, are sitting home. That is the Flyers, as did Montreal coming out of Quebec, going to Philadelphia on Wednesday. It is the Flyers who will go in and meet a rested Islander club right now playing outstanding hockey in their building, and they're waiting.
Boy, I saw that game against Pittsburgh, and they played very well.
Pavanka against Kerr, fed behind the Flyer net to McCrimmon, looks up that far boards, knocked down by Hatcher, but it rolls through him and taken on the steal by Philadelphia's prop. Angle drive, and it rolled just as he went to shoot, and went high wide to the near side. And here comes Pavanka up at center ice. Over the line, winds up in a shot off the stick of Mars, grabbed by Hextall. Shovels it up on the near side, a little bit late. The Caps forecheck to keep it in. That's a giveaway. Now the Flyers have Gould in behind the Philadelphia net. Tries the center. Eklund won't let him, nor will McCrimmon. Pavanka comes in trying to break it free, but it goes to McCrimmon. A wrap around to the blue line, far side. Hatcher will keep it in, right back behind the net. Clears up on the near side. Prop didn't see it coming. Picked off by the Caps. They're working in the near side, and finally Eklund has it for Philadelphia. Fights past the stick check of Pavanka, through on the right wing to Prop, over the line into the Capital zone. He can cut right in on the net, shoots, didn't get, he scores! Gaffa.
Boy, I think the young goaltender Mason made the mistake on that, Gene. You have to really time that poke check coming out of that corner on that player. Prop just using his body to shield the puck away from the back checker, and watch the stick come off the ice. Mason lets that hole open up a little more than usual, and the puck goes between the pads right on the ice where that stick should be, and the Flyers have a 3-1 lead. But a nice cut by Prop, a very sharp cut. Not a hard shot, but when you're in that close, it doesn't matter how hard you shoot, it's where you put it.
I'll tell you, the other defenseman who got lost in the shuffle was Kevin Hatcher, and it was Prop going in against Pavanka, who was no match. And Bob, you could see, just as he crossed the blue line, he was going to be able to turn in on net.
Well, what happens, Gene, when a defenseman takes a glance over there, when you have a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-3 situation, he takes a look over there, and he sees that winger, in that case it was Pavanka moving over there, has Prop. Now, if he lets him go or lets up on him, that defenseman doesn't know that, and that's what Pavanka did. He let up on Prop. Prop got 2 strides on him. Consequently, it was in the net.
Mars forechecked, almost loses the puck, gets some help in that far corner from Zezel. Nice job by Grant Martin to do that forechecking for Washington. But Philadelphia is the better of the two sides on that one, and Zezel leads the charge up. He had a man breaking. That'll be an offside or an icing, depending on who touches it up. And the Flyers get there, and no, it's not an offside. My error is the Flyers make that an onside play. Battling is Zezel along with Lindsey Carson, and Craven and the Caps storm up at center ice. Larry Murphy at the Flyer line, checked from behind, controlled. He's at the right side, tries to put it on the net. Crossman deflects, and there is Hextall winding it off the glass, and it kicks out of the building, or at least into the off-rink area for the stoppage of play. We have 9:51 remaining second period. Zezel at 5:43, Prop at 9:22. This period 3-1 Philadelphia.
Boy, Brian Murray, he's really upset. You can see it. He is not only upset with the way things are turning out, but also with the way they're making those plays, and there's defensive zone, and that's been the real trademark of this hockey club, the Washington Capitals. Mike Keenan, on the other hand, looks awfully calm, and who wouldn't be with a 2-goal lead at this point?
Right, Langway back with Blum, and it's Adams left, Laughlin right, centered by Hallworth. The Flyers, Sutter, Cockett, and Derek Smith, along with McCrimmon and Howe. Defensive left circle face-off. Jerry Gauthier, as we get our high camera for those of you watching. from the end. Puck kicks back to the point. Blum goes off the Langway, tries to get off the board, shoots. Short side wide, bangs to the far side where Hallworth picks it up. Wants to go back to the point, has Ron Sutter block his pass, falls, keeps it in, and finally Sutter with his aggressiveness is able to poke at the center ice. Puck taken there by McCrimmon, through on the right side to Ron Sutter. Back to Derek Smith. He's going right on in. Up and he went to shoot, missed the puck. Oh my! Did he ever strip the Capital defenseman Blum there? And then one little detail. Caps up into center, right out in front on the carom off the boards. And Ron Hextall protects it from Greg Adams. The puck behind the Philadelphia net. Nice play by Howe to take off Laughlin. And the Flyers not allowing the Caps now. Oh, there's a bad outlet pass. The Caps pick it up to center ice. Boom. Down goes Ron Sutter, but it's gotten up to Tocchet at center ice with Derek Smith. Tocchet drive, and Mason grabs that one in front of his net. Drops it off behind to Langway, who's chased all the way around into the corner by Ron Sutter. Wheels it around to the defensive right side, and Blum to Laughlin, and through comes Hallworth at center ice with Greg Adams. They crisscross. There's a drop pass. Howe takes it off. Can't get rid of it, and so takes it off himself around to the near side of the net and slides it up to Tocchet on the Flyer line right wing. Tocchet at the red line, tries to drive it in for a line change, and puts it right on Hatcher's stick. Hatcher up the center ice, and it's taken away by Philadelphia. Lost right back to John Barrett over the line. Shot way wide to the left of Hextall. Dug out and shot. Knocked down in front, and the Flyers clear it out nicely. That's Pelle Eklund. 8:20 remaining in the second period. It is Flyers 3 and the Caps 1. The 2 goals to open it up in this period. Zezel and less than 4 minutes later, Propp. Zezel on the power play, and Propp on a fine individual effort. By the way, Propp's 11th and Zezel's 13th. In the corner, Gartner turns up, hits his man Christian in the skate, but controls it away from Kerr, who's on with Eklund and Propp. Christian storming up at center, stick handling into the zone, but sends Francis Getty to his left offside with 7:53 remaining second period from the Cap center. Flyers 3, Washington 1.
Good work, Starship. Why don't you guys take a break?
How about a Pepsi? There's only one left.
Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Well, those 2 goals, rather, by Zezel and Propp has really quieted down this Cap Center crowd.
Second period shot, 7-3 Philadelphia, 18-17 Capitals for the game. Washington, Duchesne, rink-wide pass right onto the stick of Philadelphia's Propp. Up through at center ice, Eklund coming 2-on-4. Gives the line and then fires offensive left corner. Rolled in front, the Propp, a shot. Oh, and Kerr is right there. Almost a bad giveaway by the Caps. Mason was able to erase the mistake.
It was a bad giveaway. He did erase it, though. What a save he made on Propp. As the Caps had trouble getting a hold of that puck. And you have to really point the finger at Pelle Eklund, who set up Propp in the slot area there. It looked like he had everything cut off at the boards. He just flipped it down in the air. And as Murphy tried to knock it down, he did, but he knocked it right onto Propp's stick. And then that's when Mason made a big save. And of course, everybody tied up Tim Kerr, and Mason was able to cover up the faceoff. But a big save by Mason. Fire score there. Might be going south for the rest of the game for this Capital Club.
3-1 Philadelphia, 7:33 remaining. Flyers in the Island tomorrow. Will be on Philly 57 at 7. Next Tuesday and Thursday at home with St. Louis and Hartford. A week from tomorrow afternoon, December 6th at Boston. And Sunday, December 7th, back at Philadelphia. The last regular season appearance of the Oilers of Edmonton. Kerr, Eklund, along with Propp, Hospodar, and Marsh. Flyers working in front. Mason has it given off to Larry Murphy, and Murphy has 2 men at center ice. Christian, along with Gartner, puts it on Gartner's stick, rolls off to the near side, pivot, tries to go cross ice, hits Eklund, and Eklund shovels it to center ice. Now the Flyers down that left wing. Kerr is chased by Gartner, cuts off Kerr nicely. Excellent defensive play of Gartner getting back as the Caps having trouble in their own zone. Finally, Stevenson control, puts it up the middle of the ice. Murphy right-siding it into the zone. Gartner with a bullet. High off Hextall. He grabs off. It goes into the net. It counts. It popped up into the air. Hextall reached back and knocked it into the net and dislodged it.
Boy, I'll tell you, maybe you need something crazy to happen to help get things going for you. And Gardner, who can really bring that shot anyway, no matter where it is, handcuffed Hextall. He tried to get control of it. He ended up knocking it in. Now that puck went over the goal line before Murphy and the defenseman out there, McCrimmon, knocked the goal off its magnets. It goes in right before the net is knocked away. That's still there, and it's over the line, and then when Murphy came in, the net went flying, but the puck was already over the goal line, so it is a goal. It's over now. Now the net comes off, and Gartner gets the goal, and the Capitals are back in the game, and it looked like the Flyers were just about to put the final spade of dirt on top of their grave.
They were ignited in the first period on that goal by Stevens, and they carried the play the rest of the period to Philadelphia. There it is to Hallworth with a drive, and Philadelphia's McCrimmon got in the way out of that from inside the offensive right circle and deflected out of the ring. 6:42 remaining, second period from the sold-out Cap Center in Landover, Maryland. 3-2 Philadelphia.
If there's one thing I've tried to teach my linebackers over the years, it's don't get faked out. Hold your ground, keep your head up, use your eyes, then pursue. Same goes for businesses. If you want to reach customers when they're ready to buy, the Genuine Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages is the book you want. If you want your ad to hit with maximum impact, don't be fooled. Advertise in the Genuine Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. They wrote the book.
Mike Gartner with his fifth at 13:01, and we talked about how he's been struggling so far, and a lot of times it's a crazy play or a goal such as he just scored that will really burst that bad luck bubble for you.
Deep into the Cap zone, Stevens will pick it up just shy of the goal line. Play continues. Craven ties it up, but they rolled it around, and outlet pass is blocked. Flyers Sinisalo tried to drive it toward the net, ill-advised. Caps break it up. Outlet pass fanned on by Stevens, but on the second try, drives it off Greg Adams' stick to center ice with the Flyers' Mark Howe. To the near side to Sinisalo. Turns back in his own zone to McCrimmon. McCrimmon up the middle of the ice. Offensive right corner dump. Gathered in by Zezel. Puts it in front. Oh, and the rebound kicked back to Howe. His shot blocked as the Flyers don't get many opportunities, but each is a lightning thrust, Bobby, and a high percentage one. Craven in off the near side to Zezel. Has an angle shot. Save, rebound, overskated by Philadelphia's Sinisalo. The Caps put it to center and send it all the way into the Philadelphia zone. Caps change on the goal. They bring out Pavanka along with Gould and Duchesne defensively. Blum is back with Langway. On the Flyers counter with McCrimmon and Marsh. And out there now is Craven along with Ron Sutter and Rick Tocchet. There's a steal by Ron Sutter. He's trailed. He's got Lindsey Carson for the net. There he is. Shot. What a save by Mason.
Boy.
That, my friends, is an all-star save, and the Caps storming back on the left. There's Duchesne into the corner. Nowhere to go with the puck. Gives it around to the far side, and Tocchet a wraparound back against the flow of play. What a save as Lindsey Carson was set up perfectly in front by Sutter and blew the shot right on, and Mason was there. And here comes Washington again. Gould punching those shoulders down into that left corner, puts it in on Hextall. He shovels it here, but right there is Duchesne, and the net again becomes dislodged, and we'll get a stoppage with a face-off coming into the Flyers' defensive right circle.
You know, if you haven't picked up a copy of the Flyers 86-87 calendar, you should do so as soon as possible. Makes a great Christmas gift. Has all the games, the TV schedule, plus the player's birthday. It also has a lot of fine and exciting color photographs. So why don't you pick up a copy now? And you can do so by picking it at the Spectrum or any of the showcase stores or by mail. Just send $4.50 to Flyers Calendar of the Spectrum, Philadelphia, 19148. A hit for you. They make great stocking stuffers.
It appeared on that shot by Carson. It rolled on him just as he shot.
Boy, I'll tell you, that was a big save. You need your goaltender to do that. And I know you keep harping this is a club that's struggling, and they are really having their problems. And you need plays like that. You need a crazy goal, possibly, like a Mike Gartner just scored.
Caps control of the offensive left circle draw, trying to dig it out. Gartner has that goal and is stripped to the puck, and out comes Philadelphia. Boy, there's an overskate, but Howe takes it into the zone and offside as it was ragged from its very inception. 4:46 remaining second period. 1-1 after one. Flyers went up 3-2 on goals by Zezel and Prop, and then Gartner brought the Caps within one. There have been 7 penalties scored to Washington. The shots now 21-20 Philadelphia for the game, 11-5 for the Flyers in this period.
They had them really down in the dumps. They had them almost buried. Of course, there's a lot of time left, but that crazy goal has given the Capitals added life. You can almost see it in their faces, Gene, when the Flyers got that third goal.
Strange that both goals for Washington have been off the glove of Hextall. The one by Stevens and the one by Gartner. But the one by Gartner went up off his shoulder and then off the glove.
That just shows you those two guys can really shoot.
Caps now trying to come out. Gartner slowed down at center ice. Eklund pokes it free, and it's taken nicely by Philadelphia's Prop. Turns and sends it all the way up ice into the Washington zone in on Mason. And here comes Larry Murphy lugging the puck. Stripped. Now Eklund up the middle of Kerr. Tried the little quick shot. Eklund takes the rebound, puts it to Kerr behind. All alone in front was Prop. The Caps can't get, or the Flyers can't get the puck out. Then it's driven up, and it's picked up by Gartner against Marsh. Holes along the left side. They've got 2 men. He's got an option. Holes. Now he drops it into the right corner to Hatcher. Hatcher in front. And Hextall made the save, although it was not a kind of a shot that would have headed into the net. Just steered it to the near side where Barrett picks it up at center. Tries to get past Kerr and does, and wraps it down the boards behind Philadelphia's net. Greg Adams is after it, and off the glass, Crossman gets it up through at center ice. And here comes Zezel against Hatcher. Holds up the middle, trying to find Craven, and back comes Barrett for the Caps. Right past Derek Smith at the Flyer line. Inside his own man, Greg Smith, and then winds it behind the net. It was not a gazelle approach into the Philadelphia zone by Barrett, and then the Flyers come to center ice, and there is Philadelphia's Derek Smith into the zone. He tries to shoot to the right side of Mason from the slot, and the Flyers, as the net becomes dislodged, Blum drove Zezel into the twine, and now Blum wants to say hello to Peter, and they get the sticks up. And now the Flyers all gather in, except the 2 defensemen who stay outside. And we have 3:11 remaining in the second period from the Washington Cap Center, 3-2 Philadelphia.
Like many before, you came here asking for just one thing.
Sadowski, Shiboski.
A chance.
Pronounced Shiboski.
You're gonna make it here, 'cause you make America work, and this spot's for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This spot's for you.
3-2 the score. 3:11 remains in the second period. Flyers leading the Washington Capitals. 21-20. The shots on goal in favor of Philadelphia.
All right, Philadelphia has Carson out with Tocchet and Ron Sutter defensively. McCrimmon and Howe, and the Capitals go with Corriveau, Martin, and Franceschetti with Blum and Langway the defense. Offensive, a left circle face-off Philadelphia. Sutter against Grant Martin. All right. Now Jerry Gauthier says get the sticks down. They're down. Puck is dropped. Rugby scrum still up for grabs. It's under Sutter's feet. They try to dig it out. Back to Howe. Shovels it in. There's Carson with a drive. Ooh, and he had the goaltender off balance on that quickie and went wide. And now we've got Grant Martin on the far side sitting in the Flyer zone against Ron Sutter. Boom, a collision on the near side, and all of a sudden tempers are getting frisky. We could have something go very quickly here. And we get a stoppage of play. Once again, they all gather in.
What happened is Sutter and Martin were down on the ice, and Sutter had a hold of Martin, not letting him go, and Martin started pushing him onto the ice time and time again, and that's what started things there. And then the Flyers started to go up the ice, and they got a little bit of difference of opinion. Now we have Martin coming in from behind on Sutter.
Now Mason has signaled to his bench, can you get somebody, throw some water out here? And Pete Peters does just that. So somebody's going to get refreshments.
Interesting, Gene, when you have a team or 2 teams that usually have pretty rough games with each other. You got the 2 smallest linesmen in the league handling it. Gerard Gauthier and Ray Scapanello. I mean, they're very competent linesmen, but they're not very big.
Now Blum has tried to go at it again. with Zezel and was taken down.
No, that was Thompson.
Is that Thompson?
Yes, Thompson was trying to go after Tocchet.
Now what's going to happen out of all of this?
Well, Thompson has made his way to the penalty box. I think Tocchet will be going as well. We have 2:49 remaining in this second period. Flyers up by a goal, 3-2. Tocchet's in there for the Flyers. Jim Thompson, ninth-round draft pick in '84 out of Toronto Marlies, who's been playing in Binghamton up until now. Let's listen to the call.
Thompson of the Capitals, 2 minutes each for roughing at 17-11. Flyers penalty number 22, Rick Tocchet. Capitals penalty number 37, Jim Thompson, 2 minutes each for roughing at 17-11.
Tocchet on the season now picks up penalty minutes 89 and 90, and for Jim Thompson, who's had limited service in just 2 games with the Caps, this is his first penalty of the season. The Caps have 5 of the game's 9. These are coincidental minors. They'll skate at full strength on the ice, and neither Thompson nor Tocchet will be able to return to the ice until the first stoppage of play after 2 minutes of play have elapsed. Jerry Gauthier, along with Ray Scapinello, is pinch hitting tonight for the injured Gordy Brossiker at the line. Dave Newell, the referee, out of Sudbury. This is Dave's 20th year in the league. Brian Murray, as Eklund is out with Pop and Kerr, Crossman with Hospodar, and it's Christian with Gartner, who got the Caps back to within 1 with that goal that popped off Hextall's shoulder and then off his glove into the net. And on the near side, Greg Adams. Puck up at center. Prop turns and lifts it high in the air, and it bounces to the right side of goaltender Miller. Nice move away from the forechecking of Kerr by defenseman Stevens, but Eklund picks it off, tried to get it through to Kerr. Kerr is taken down. Then Kerr takes down the defenseman. The Flyers trying to get it in front. The prop with a shot hit the outside of the net to the short side of goaltender Mason, and then the Caps shoot it all the way down. And Jerry Gauthier said that's going to be an icing, and after it is Crossman, Scapinello agrees, and the puck will come back into the Washington end with 2:10 remaining second period. 3-2 Philadelphia. We'll be at the Island tomorrow on Philly 57 at 7, and back home at the Spectrum next Tuesday night at 7:30 with St. Louis.
Doug Crossman has really been having an excellent year, and it's been all in the shadows. Not too many people have been noticing. He's tied with Prop for plus 16 on the club, which puts him behind Mark Howe, leading 28. It makes him about 4th in the league as well. And he's been shifted with Brad Marsh and along with J.J. Daigneault. Daigneault has not seen a lot of action tonight. Just a couple of shifts in the first period. Hasn't seen one here in the second.
All right, they're discussing where the circle will be, and Gauthier raises his hand, says offensive right circle, Philadelphia. He doesn't say it, but he designates that.
I think that's just, excuse me, Gene, Brian Murray over there, you think that's just a volcano ready to erupt?
Oh. Zezel, Craven, and Sinisalo for Philadelphia, with McCrimmon and Howe, as Daigneault's seen very limited action tonight, as he did against Montreal, or didn't against Montreal on Wednesday. Pavanka for the Caps. Flyers, Zezel battles around behind the net, but Hatcher has it. Outlets far side. Nice bump by Philadelphia, but it's outletted through on the near side and rolled into the Philadelphia zone by Duchesne, looking for Pavanka, but the Flyers take it away. But Christian penetrates. Left corner, that's Gould at the side of the net, poked away. Dug out by Pavanka. Looks to try to come out of the corner. Blocked off by Zezel. Plays off to Duchesne, who has a man behind the net. Gould rolls it around past him. On the far side, Hatcher is bumped. He's taken out by Philadelphia's Craven. That allows Howe to get it up to Zezel. One-on-one into the zone, up the middle, but Craven is cut off. Now Howe into the corner, tries to center it. Blocked off by Hatcher. Around to the near side to Craven. In front, he had his man there. Kerr at the top of the left circle. Pass deflected out into center ice by Washington. Howe looks, pivots, gets it back along the near side as he's bumped by Pavanka. And then Zezel took a run at Duchesne, missed and hit the board. But Zezel follows it up into the zone. A shot off the stick of Hatcher, who'll retrieve in his own corner with 1:05 left. Flyers change on the goal as the Caps bring it up over center, and then Kevin Hatcher ran inadvertently into the referee, Dave Newell, who was working down that right side, and the Flyers gain the puck back. Marsh over the line, wraps it into the offensive left corner, follows it up, around to the near boards. It comes out on the deflection in front of the Washington goal, but Greg Adams quickly out along the near side, Crossman as the Flyers got a man caught back. It's Crossman out there with Lindsey Carson at the defense. The Flyers quickly get back. There's a bounce in front, but no real play for Laughlin to get a shot as Crossman carries it into center. Through into the zone to Ron Sutter. Drops and a shot from the left circle by Derek Smith is grabbed by Mason, and they all gather in behind the net again with 31 seconds remaining in the second period. 3-2 Philadelphia. We'd like to talk about my mailbag for those of you either on the radio or television side that would like to know something about the game, the Flyers, or hockey in general. If you have a question, just send along to Gene's mailbag. 420 North 20th Street, Philadelphia, the zip code 19130. That's Gene's mailbag. For your questions or comments, 420 North 20th Street, Philadelphia, the zip code 19130.
And it is not made out of those old pants of yours, that mailbag.
No. That's the thing I used to cover my car. I made a car cover.
Well, all I know is that those pants, there's some horse in Rittenhouse Square right now, or down by the Liberty Bell. It's awfully cold this winter.
Those pants made 47 oat bags, I want you to know. Cecil, Carson, and Tocchet along with Marsh and Crossman. And Duchesne is out along with Gartner and Christian. Defensively, they've got Murphy and Stevens. Marsh went over to say something to Dave Newell. He says, watch my shot. If it goes in, it's mine. 31 seconds left. Offensive left circle. Zezel against Dave Christian of the Caps. Puck is dropped back into the defensive right corner of the Capitals. Stevens outlets to Duchesne, and up on the far side, Gartner can't handle it. And the Flyers pump it back into the Washington end with 20 seconds remaining second period. Stevens leads the charge up, fires it into the zone. Gartner is now obviously a target man around behind the net, rubbed out, tries to protect the puck. Duchesne a man in front, and Christian shot wide again. As the puck comes up on the near side, and it's lifted into center ice.
Boy, oh boy, that's twice now. He had excellent opportunities, and he's just missed.
Puck down into the Cap zone, and we come to the end of the second period. Again, controlled in the first half by Philadelphia, and moderately in the second by Washington. Zezel's 13th from McCrimmon and Craven on the power play at 5:43. Props 11th from Eklund at 9:22, and then Gartner is 5th from Murphy and Stevens at 13:01. 3 of the 4 penalties in that period to the Caps. They have 5 of the game's 9. The shot totals, Philadelphia in the second period had 13 for a game total of 23, and the Caps had just 6, a game total of 21. So those are the numbers at the end of 20 minutes of play from the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland. The Flyers 3 and Washington 2 as we go back to our Philly 57 host, the Doc, Mike Emmerich.
Thank you, Gene. Coming up in this intermission, Steve Coates will be along to answer our continuing question during the course of the year, where are they now? In addition, we'll take a look at the other action around the league, specifically some highlights from Edmonton, where the Oilers are playing the Chicago Blackhawks, and we'll also look back at the second period of this contest between the Caps and the Flyers. All that as our coverage continues after these words.
When you join HMOPA New Jersey, it's good to know that when you need help, you see the doctor you've chosen in his office.
Still higher than I'd like to see.
No clinics.
Okay, now what?
No deductibles. But what's really good to know is that when he needs help,
see a specialist.
He's got a few colleagues he can turn to. This year, where you work,
Well, your blood pressure's improved, Bob.
vote for a new way of living. HMOPA New Jersey.
The Honda Accord. With its unique double wishbone suspension, handles and rides like no other car. The Accord from the engineers at Honda.
First in customer satisfaction.
Normally, Joe wouldn't be caught dead in a pair of dress shoes, something my mother always noticed. However, this morning, he rushed down to Payless to buy dress shoes, gladly, for 2 reasons. 1, they have good-looking dress shoes at good prices, and 2, this afternoon, my mother's getting married and moving to Syracuse.
Right now, men's dress and casual shoes are on sale for just $12.99 or 2 pairs for $25. Pay less, Shoe Source. You could pay more, but why?
Villanova basketball is back, and it's live on Philly 57. Sunday afternoon at 3, the Wildcats will be battling Vermont. Rolly Massimino has the Cats ready for a run at the Big East crown, and this game should be a good preseason test for Nova. So don't miss Villanova and Vermont, Sunday at 3 on Philly 57, Philly's own superstation.
Here again on the radio network and Philly 57, it's our continuing series on past members of the Philadelphia Flyers. You're going to like this one. From the wilds of British Columbia comes a man named Joe Watson. Our answer to Steve Coates' question, where are they now?
Joe, you've been retired 8 years now. Which direction has your career taken?
Well, I often think that it's taken off in a good direction. It was up and it was seesawing back and forth for a couple of years, but now I'm into the public relations end of it with the Flyers. I sell advertising for radio and television and our very successful hockey magazine. Also, I do a lot of public speaking for the Flyers, go to colleges and schools and businesses and corporations and speak on behalf of the organization. And I do some insurance from the side for a company from Cape May, New Jersey called National Associates.
After playing the game for so long, do you ever miss maybe not staying in the game as a coach?
Well, I often thought of the coaching aspect of it after I finished playing, and I had somewhat of an opportunity with the Flyers, but I think that to be a coach in National Hockey League today, by gosh, it's more than just being a coach. I think it's a babysitting service because the players are so young and they're inexperienced in a lot of ways, and they don't know the various aspects of the game. I think it's a defensive liability out there. Some of the way some of the players play today, it's all offense, and I think it takes years off of your life being a coach today, so I admire these guys that coach today.
What was it like coming from a long-established Boston Bruin team to a expansion Philadelphia Flyer team?
Well, initially it was very disappointing to myself. I'd only played a year and some games in Boston, but Boston were in a rebuilding stage at the time, and I thought I was part of that rebuilding stage. It was quite obvious I wasn't. But initial action was shock. But other than that, after, if you could foresee all these things in the future, it was a blessing in disguise for myself.
Did you think in that 1967 season that you'd be winning a Stanley Cup in 1973?
Well, first of all, my ultimate goal in life was to play in the National Hockey League. After I realized there was a National Hockey League, and then anything beyond that was coup de grace, you might add. But certainly, I never envisioned us winning a Stanley Cup here, with especially an expansion team. But I think that we became a team 2 years prior to winning the Stanley Cup, and we lost in the playoffs lost against Buffalo with the last 4 seconds to go. And I know a lot of us were very disappointed, as our fans were. But the next year we come back, Freddie Sherrill implemented a good system for our team, and we went and played it to a T, and that's why we're successful.
You've been a member of this organization for 20 years. Do you think that the success of the organization is because of the good management?
Well, I think that it starts right at the top, and I think if you have a bad apple at the top, it's going to filter right through the whole organization. But you start at the top, and you have Mr. Snyder, and of course Mr. Scott, Mr. Tobin, Mr. Allen, all the wonderful people they still have in the organization. You can see why the Flyers have been a very successful hockey team, and will continue to be successful for years to come with the top management they have now, and Bobby Clark, the general manager, Jay Snyder, the president. I foresee nothing in the future but great things for the Flyer organization.
Watson, his second team, the Philadelphia Flyers, leading after 2 periods tonight. His first team, the Boston Bruins, are trailing. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scores in just a moment.
Bella, Pennsylvania Yellow Pages when...
But I just bought a Yellow Pages ad.
This the book?
No.
With this Bella, Pennsylvania name on it?
That's not it.
Then it wasn't the genuine Bella, Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. The one 99% of the public knows on sight. The one they turn to when they're ready to buy. The only Yellow Pages you need. You see, friend, somebody got you to advertise in a strange directory.
Well, what do you know?
Sir?
I guess somebody took me for a ride.
Don't be fooled. Advertise in the genuine Yellow Pages from Bella, Pennsylvania. We wrote the book.
This season, the NFL is using Sony video equipment, Betamax and Trinitron in nearly every phase of its operation. even to help settle certain controversial calls. Betamax, with its sharp picture and super slow motion, and the legendary Trinitron TV. Now, you too can make the same call the NFL made and choose Sony. Sony, the one and only official video equipment of the NFL.
Available at Hi-Fi House, all stores.
I'm about to show you how you can fight drafts and frosty windows with this window insulator kit from 3M. You just stick it in place from the inside, heat it with a hairdryer, and the wrinkles disappear. Airtight and clear as glass. Now you can see how cold it is out there without feeling it in here. Look for the 3M Indoor Window Insulator Kit, or the new Outdoor Kit. Outdoors are in. Don't do it yourself without 3M.
Let's explode a myth that waiting to buy your new 87 Buick Century will save you money. It won't. The sticker price stays the same, and your trade-in actually loses value if you wait. Let's explode another myth that you'll have most of the same tax benefits next year. Wrong. Full interest and sales tax deductions will be gone after December 31st. Now is the time to buy the most popular Buick on the road today. 87 Century. Luxury, comfort, room for 6 at your Buick Value Team dealer, where better really matters.
There are two NHL clubs who have their general managers under the shroud of suspicion because they've been struggling, and the GMs have been rumored to be in trouble. One of those is playing tonight at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, the Chicago Blackhawks, and they have yielded a goal to the Oilers on the very first shot by the Oilers in the contest. Finnish-born winger Esa Tikkanen gets the goal. We watch play develop here in the center ice area as Tikkanen turns the right wing side of the center ice boards and starts to move into the zone. Tikkanen moves to the deep slot area, then unloads the big blast, and that one sails over the outstretched pad and stick of Murray Bannerman. So it's 1-0, the Edmonton Oilers leading with play in the first period tonight at the Northlands Coliseum. In other action this evening, the Boston Bruins are trailing the Buffalo Sabres by a score of 3-1 in the third. That's the other GM situation that has developed, and Scotty Bowman vehemently denying that there is no trouble. That's updated now to 3-1, Buffalo leading Boston. St. Louis and Detroit are tied 1-1 in the first period. Minnesota 2-0 over Toronto, that also in the first period. Our focus will shift to this contest tonight between the Flyers and the Washington Capitals. We'll take a look at second period action in just a moment.
As your transmission, I refuse to haul this load till I get a Cockman checkup.
Suit yourself. Come up to Cockman.
The sun goes down, the night rolls in.
Did you see that? See what? What? Nothing. So where are we going anyway? What are you asking me for? It's your town, pal. That's my song. My town. Hey, I'm everywhere, pal. Knock it off, Glenn.
We need some live entertainment.
Madman! Hey, Fuller! You bring Whoppers for everyone?
It's a big classic.
What?
From Wendy's. They've never heard of... You haven't either? Okay.
The Big Classic!
Introducing Wendy's new Big Classic. The soft Kaiser bun, the fat tomatoes, the fresh toppings, the beef. This is the good stuff.
Big Classic, Big Classic, Big Classic.
Easy, crowd.
Need dependable lift trucks? Call Ransom Lift, the leader in rental, sales, and service. Ransom Lift. They deliver what they promise.
Avoid the planet Earth at all costs.
Now! Our own world is waiting for us to save it. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, rated PG. Now playing.
Sunday at noon. In the dark continent of Africa, Tarzan is the ruler of the plains and king of the jungle. He protects his loyal beast from dangerous outsiders and risks great dangers to protect the loyal villagers. Join us every Sunday at noon as Ronnie Lee stars as Tarzan, right here on Philly 57, Philly's own superstation.
5 minutes into the second period, game time at 1. The puck back to Brad McCrimmon at the right point on the power play. His drive was not tipped by Brian Propp, but was by Peter Zezel through the legs of Mason, and the Flyers had broken the tie at 2-1. The goal for Zezel is his 6th in 6 games and brings him just 4 away from his total for all last year and his career high of 17. Just under 4 minutes later, Pelle Eklund led to Brian Propp, and he made a move around Michael Pavonka and slid his 11th under the stick of Mason. Mason was the one who made the mistake on this one as he lifted his stick off the ice. Propp, although it wasn't captured by the cameras, did, after scoring the goal, remove his glove and, as is his habit, made the guffaw comic gesture of Howie Mandel. A strange one got the Caps back into it. Mike Gartner's drive from the right circle bounced high off Flyers goalie Ron Hextall, then struck the heel of his glove and trickled over the goal line. Larry Murphy, who assisted on the goal, checked Ed Hospodar into the post, displacing the goal from the Magnets, but the puck had crossed the line first, so the ruling was that the goal stood and the Caps were back to within 1. And just seconds later, goaltender Mason held the Caps in and kept the score at 3-2 with a brilliant save on Lindsey Carson. Carson had been set up by Ron Sutter. So that's where we stand. 3-2, the Flyers lead. Third period action coming up next.
As your transmission, I refuse to haul this load till I get a Cottman checkup. Suit yourself.
Come up to Cottman.
The sun goes down, the night rolls in.
Did you see that? See what?
What?
Nothing. So where are we going anyway? What are you asking me for? It's your town, pal. That's my song. My town. Hey, I'm everywhere, pal. Knock it off, Glenn.
We need some live entertainment.
Madman! Hey, Fuller! You bring offers for everyone?
It's a big classic. What? From Wendy's. They've never heard of... You haven't either? Okay. The Big Classic.
Introducing Wendy's new Big Classic. The soft Kaiser bun, the fat tomatoes, the fresh toppings, the beef. This is the good stuff.
Big Classic, Big Classic, Big.
Easy, crowd. Need dependable lift trucks? Call Ransom Lift, the leader in rental, sales, and service. Ransom Lift. They deliver what they promise.
Avoid the planet Earth at all costs.
Now!
Our own world is waiting for us to save it. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, rated PG. Now playing.
Sunday at noon. In the dark continent of Africa, Tarzan is the ruler of the plains and king of the jungle. He protects his loyal beast from dangerous outsiders and risks great dangers to protect the loyal villagers. Join us every Sunday at noon as Ronnie Lee stars as Tarzan, right here on Philly 57, Philly's own superstation.
5 minutes into the second period, game time at 1. The puck back to Brad McCrimmon at the right point on the power play. His drive was not tipped by Brian Propp, but was by Peter Zezel through the legs of Mason, and the Flyers had broken the tie at 2-1. The goal for Zezel is his 6th in 6 games and brings him just 4 away from his total for all last year and his career high of 17. Just under 4 minutes later, Pelle Eklund led to Brian Propp, and he made a move around Michael Pavonka and slid his 11th under the stick of Mason. Mason was the one who made the mistake on this one as he lifted his stick off the ice. Propp, although it wasn't captured by the cameras, did, after scoring the goal, remove his glove and, as is his habit, made the guffaw comic gesture of Howie Mandel. A strange one got the Caps back into it. Mike Gartner's drive from the right circle bounced high off Flyers goalie Ron Hextall, then struck the heel of his glove and trickled over the goal line. Larry Murphy, who assisted on the goal, checked Ed Hospodar into the post, displacing the goal from the Magnets, but the puck had crossed the line first, so the ruling was that the goal stood and the Caps were back to within 1. And just seconds later, goaltender Mason held the Caps in and kept the score at 3-2 with a brilliant save on Lindsey Carson. Carson had been set up by Ron Sutter. So that's where we stand. 3-2, the Flyers lead. Third period action coming up next.
Closed for the night. Everyone gone. No more business today. But through the magic of our public data network, now you and your customers can do business 24 hours a day. At Bell Atlantic, we open new doors in communications, and providing you with the tools you need to compete is just the beginning. Our real genius lies in the way we manage those technologies to give you that competitive edge. The companies of Bell Atlantic, we make technology work for you.
When you buy this new TV and VCR, you'll spend $800 or more. When you lease them from me, you'll spend just $47.91 a month. When you buy them, you buy all the maintenance problems. When you lease from me, repairs and service are free. And leasing lets you upgrade to better or bigger. Simple as that. So why buy when leasing's the way to go? So lease from ReadyVision. It's smarter than buying.
Who's winning the Pennsylvania Lottery Super 7?
The Shippers 10 of York, PA. You won $4 million on one ticket playing Super 7? And you guys, the Allentown 11. How much did you win on one ticket? $12 million! $12 million? How'd you pick the 7 numbers? Quick 7! The computer picked your numbers. So, how do you feel now? Yeah! Super Jackpot Super 7. Play today.
Flyers Hockey is being brought to you in part by the Olds Connection, your local Oldsmobile dealer who urges you to get a Delta 88 or other new Olds before the sales tax deduction ends December 31st. And by exceptionally smooth Michelob. Where you're going, it's Michelob.
Word just in. Remember Butch Goring played so long for the New York Islanders, Los Angeles, and Boston? Recently fired as the Boston Bruins coach, wore the same hockey helmet from the time he was 12. Well, he dusted off again because he's been signed by Edmonton to a 25-game tryout as a player, and he'll begin his second start on a career with the Nova Scotia Oilers of the American Hockey League. Now we go back to Cap Center in Washington. Gene Hart and Bob Taylor.
Welcome back here to Cap Center. Gene Hart, Bobby Taylor. I'm Bobby Taylor. He's Gene Hart. I'm Dickens. He's Finster. They can tell that. You got the mustache. You know what? Ron Hextall has just been nothing short of sensational in this first part of the season. And if you haven't seen him play in person this season, you can do so because there's still some tickets available for Tuesday's game with the St. Louis Blues and Thursday's matchup with the Hartford Whalers. You can pick up these tickets at the Spectrum, the Showcase stores, or any of the Ticketon outlets. So why don't you plan on it? He's an outstanding young goaltender. Right, Dave Newell, the referee, Ray Scapanello, Gerard Gauthier, the linesman, and it is Adams, Laughlin, centered by Hallworth, with Blum and Langway in the Flyers counter, with Lindsey Carson, Tocchet, and Ron Sutter. Defensively, Crossman with Marsh. Flyers defending right, puck in their zone. 3 forecheckers for the Caps, so Crossman clears it off the near boards and all the way down. After it, the Caps Blum. Oh, stolen in front, shot, hit the short side post, Lindsey Carson. Oh my, a Flyer goal there would have really put the heat on Capitals. What a atrocious giveaway. Now the Flyers back down that way. Lindsey Carson was set up, might have angled for a better shot, but got the quick one off and hit the post just to the inside left of goaltender Mason. He made the save, Gene Mason, with his left skate. Flyers steal again. In the corner to the point. Crossman. Whoop, where is it? Knocked down in front and then slammed back by Carson. The Caps block it up and Laughlin up at the near side to Adams over the line with Hallworth. Down that left side. Stops. Wants to get it back to the point. Does. Looking for a shot. Stevens. Back to Adams who lets it roll behind the Flyer net. Marsh steers it up in the near side and this time it's all the way down and that should be an icing. Stevens takes the carom all the way up on his defensive left side. With a stoppage, we pause for station identification. The Flyers Hockey Network.
This is Philly 57, WGBS in Philadelphia.
Those are the type of plays that just make Brian Murray furious, and he's just ready to explode, as we talked about in that second period. And he gets very upset with his club because they are such a strong, or have been in the past, strong defensive team in their own zone. And Lindsey Carson had that puck given right to him, and Mason just stoned him. That's the second time now. Duchesne, Gould, Pavanka, along with Murphy and Stevens. Howe out with McCrimmon, and the Flyers go Craven, Derek Smith, and Peter Zezel. Little adjustment here in the Flyer line units. Defensive left circle face-off Philadelphia. Zezel against Pavanka. Jerry Gauthier directing traffic. The puck is taken around behind the Flyer net up on the right side by McCrimmon. Unchallenged right through at center ice to Derek Smith. Dumps it in and will chase offensive right corner. He beats Scott Stevens. Looks to center, and as he went to the forehand, Stevens buried him in the corner. Flyers dig it out. Zezel has nowhere to go along the offensive right side. Runs into the referee again. Dave Newell comes out of that corner. In front, there was Howe, and the Caps break it out at center ice. Duchesne down that left side. Stevens is open on the near side. Picks it up on the carom toward the net. And it was deflected wide of the long side. Good check in there against Pavanka by Craven, but the Caps have it in front. Shot, save, and Hextall had it roll off his left hip into the crease. And that was a daring play without really the chance of it going in, but it raised the shackles of the Capital fans here.
That quick shot, you can sometimes catch that goaltender leaning, and it deflected off the Flyer defenseman, so it went up on goaltender Hextall, but that big body of his, he was able to cover an awful lot of that net and had very few holes open.
Smart play by the defenseman to reach out like that?
No.
No, let it go.
Not unless you're going to get all of it, Gene.
No.
You always tell your defenseman, if you're going to block a shot, make sure you're going to get all of it. Just don't get a piece of it, because 9 times out of 10, you just get a piece of it, and it's enough to change direction, and it can really handcuff a goaltender.
Now Gartner and Philadelphia's Marsh is in discussion with the referee Dave Newell in the goal line area to the left of Hextall as the sellout crowd of 18,130 look on. Flyers have drawn 2 consecutive sellouts. The first, the Caps home opener. Philadelphia with Crossman and Marsh, and they have Eklund on with Propp, a Flyer goal scorer, and Kerr. And the Caps go with Francis, Getty, Martin, and Gartner, and Blum back with Langway. Flyers clear up. Blum tried to keep it in. It skips off the boards to center ice. Propp has it there. Little reverse to Marsh, who wasn't expecting it. Drives it into the zone. Eklund to Kerr, and he hit him on the back of the skate. When Kerr was in position for a little quickie shot. Caps try once to come out, and now they do. There goes Christian. He's got an open man on the left. The chance to Sketty. The pass is smothered. And Propp turns back up on the right wing at center ice for Philadelphia. At the cap line to Kerr. Kerr looks. Shot. Good glove save by Mason. Looks. And drops off as play is allowed to continue in the near corner to the point. Marsh into the slot to Eklund from Propp. Eklund had it roll off the tip of the stick. Gartner along the near side wants to come out with it and does, but in no possession. And Flyers go back to their zone. Crossman from Propp, and now up to Eklund at center ice. Will challenge to Kerr with a shot. Right on. The rebound smothered by Eklund. Flyers battle along the near side, and Hallworth comes to center. He has a man on his left wing, Francis Getty, offside the play, and we get a stoppage with 2:44 gone. Scoreless third period from Washington. 3-2 Philadelphia. Bobby and I will be at the Uniondale Coliseum tomorrow night at 7 with Washington. 3-2 for the Flyers early third period.
This could be the fall you fall for Eastern Airlines Caribbean. Prices have dropped. The crowds have disappeared. So there's no better time to fall for our 18 destinations throughout the Caribbean and the Bahamas. Eastern's vacation packages are just as easy to fall for. They come complete with hotel and round-trip coach airfare. Call your travel agent or Eastern for complete details. Love may last forever, but our fall prices won't.
27-22 the shots Philadelphia. 4-1 this period for the Flyers. Face off just at center ice. Stevens with the puck kicking back in the Washington zone out with Hatcher. And up front, Martin with Jim Thompson and Ivan Korovo. Cap shoot it into the Flyer zone. McCrimmon's there to bang it right off the glass to center. Hits Lindsey Carson in the shoulder. Controls. Almost had Ron Sutter cutting inside the defense. The puck rolls down over the Cap goal line, picked up and fed to the near side. Flyers try to keep it in. Howe does, but cannot make a play. Then it rolls into the slot. Flyers trying to go in front to Ron Sutter, and his shot hit a skate and went just to the right. Mason
got just a piece of it as well, Gene, I think.
Here they come into the zone, and the Flyers take it away and jam it to center ice. Hatcher waits for Thompson to clear and drops it back in alongside Hextall. McCrimmon using the screen away from Grant Martin, gets it up to Carson at center ice, and he rolls it in, and then the Flyers change on the go. They have Crossman out with Marsh, and Brown is on now, along with Derek Smith and Peter Zezel. Short side shot by Brown. Flyers Zezel behind the net. Got Brown in front. Stopper score by Dave Brown.
Boy, a big goal by the Flyers, Brown. That's his second of the season, and it comes at 3:46 of this third period. And a real good, hard-working job by Peter Zezel. And again, the Capitals guilty of overreacting in their zone. They had two guys, both defensemen, going after Peter Zezel. John Barrett, what he was doing in the corner behind there to help out Hatcher is beyond me, because there was nobody in front, no defenseman in front whatsoever. Hatcher's there, you got to know who's there. And Brown had good position. He just one-timed it between the pads of goaltender Mason. It's 4-2.
Zezel is second point of the night, Brown, and that's 3:46. The Flyers get back to their 2-goal lead. Puck comes to center ice and jammed into the right of Hextall. He looks off the glass, clears it off Pavanka's stick, but not out. Big check by Zezel. The Caps in front. Murphy, you can drive, decides not to, then puts it in front. The screen was there, Duchesne, but Hextall went down and did the old mushroom farmer and kept the puck away.
Boy, that butterfly style really helps you when that puck is low and you can't see it, especially on low deflections. Brad Marsh really played Murphy perfectly. He just didn't allow the player to get a good shot away, and then that quick deflection, and that's the butterfly style when you go down and fan your legs out to the side. And Hextall can get those legs right flat along the ice, and that shows great flexibility, especially for a guy that's 6'3". And he's able to make the save.
And when Dave Brown scores in the enemy rink, that is even a sorrow for them.
Well, especially in this rink, it's like putting salt on the wound.
You know, it looked like on that replay that Crossman might have got a little piece of that, trying to deflect it away and let it slide in off his stick. Adams left, Laughlin right with Haworth. Stevens back with Murphy. This line of Haworth with Adams and Laughlin intact all evening. Flyers with Brown, Zezel.
That could be.
What is it?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. That puck.
Got it out of the rink.
There's no question in Dave Newell's mind. He deliberately, emphatically said it's a minor penalty. Had that hit the top of the glass and went out, it is not gonna be a penalty, but this time it is.
All right, Cap, get a break. They have a power play coming up early third period, 4-2 Philadelphia.
To America's best as they look to Australia and the America's Cup Challenge.
This bus for all that you do. You've got the stuff to come through a long way from home. But you're not alone. 'Cause your country's home. It's all singing with you. You make America work, and this bus for you.
Delay of the game call. Ron Hextall at 4:16 will give Washington its third power play opportunity. Again, they call it. Now, some referees don't call it all the time, but they should. They're supposed to anyway, that if that goaltender fires the puck out over the glass, it's an automatically delay of the game call. Now, should it hit the glass and go out, it's not a delay of the game call. So he's going to have to practice that, Gene.
That's the second time that's happened. It happened in Toronto in the first period, or in Toronto, right? The Flyers survived. So he's had 3 penalties now, 2 of this Friday. And what it does, it gives the Caps, who were stung by that goal from Brown just 30 seconds ago, they give them a chance with a power play to get back in it. They are 0 for 2 on the evening, 1 for 19 on the year against Philadelphia.
Dave Brown will serve that minor penalty to Hextall. It has to be a guy that's on the ice at the time.
Adams, Laughlin, along with Haworth and Stevens back, and Christian is the other point man. Flyers try to unload. It goes back to the point. Christian is there. He's got a big screen in front. Save, rebound. Oh, I don't believe the stop he made on Haworth. Unbelievable.
Boy, did he ever. Made a great save. Boy, Christian really set up the Capital player at the side of the net, and unbelievable. What a save he made.
What's Newell talking to Hextall about?
I'm not sure, but see Adams right in front there. Adams was in the goal crease. Now, that is goaltender interference. That should be called, and it's an automatic call. It's not a thing that you have anything to on your discretion about. If that player's in the goal crease without being shoved in there, it's an automatic interference penalty, and they don't call it all the time. And that's why they put that extra crease in there. But boy, Hextall just robbed Haworth of that shot. Christian, who had a really good opportunity, took the quick shot, the rebound. Haworth was there. It looked like he had the the Capitals' third goal, and that 6'3" body, that's what helps you. If you're 5'9", he doesn't reach the crosshair. 6'3", he's got that extra length.
You'd have had it.
Well, I'm over 6 foot too, so. But you see, Adams is in the goal crease there.
Yeah.
There's no question. That's a minor penalty,
Yeah.
and they're not calling it all the time. If you're going to call it one on the goaltender for delaying the game, then call the goaltending interference.
Glenn Resch looking on with Daigneault to his right. Sutter against Hallworth. Crossman and Marsh, Sutter and Zezel against Laughlin, Adams, Hallworth, Stevens, and Christian. Christian not only got the point shot, but he was able to maneuver into perfect position. Now along the far side, the Flyers close in along the defensive right board. Adams has it there. Flyers a little off center now, racing after the puck. Now they get their box back into position as Christian into the near corner. Behind the net, Adams. They look, they've got Stevens in. And his shot was smothered, and on the far side, Flyers with a beautiful job by Ron Sutter to take the puck, control it, and drift it into center ice. 5 minutes gone, third period. Brown's goal in this session has given the Flyers a 4-2 lead. Caps have 1:15 remaining on the power play, with Christian shooting it in. Hextall blocks. He looks up the middle and clears it all the way down.
Boy, does that ever help you out. Believe me, that defenseman, knowing full well when that puck shot in there, you don't have to turn and go back as quickly.
They always talk about goaltenders buying their defenseman dinners. I think this year Brad Marsh is going to buy Hextall a lot. Laughlin threw into the Philadelphia zone along the wing, harassed all the way in by Philadelphia's Craven, who gets it behind the net. All alone in front was Pavanka, but the Caps weren't able to get the puck there, and then Prop tried to shovel it past Stevens along the defensive left side. Stevens pokes it behind the Flyer net. Laughlin on the give and go, and it deflects out in front, and Craven is able to ice it.
Well, the crowd isn't very patient with this power play, and maybe they're justified.
Half a minute remaining on the power play. Pavanka storming at center. Down that left side, turns into the offensive corner, is slowed down by Zezel. McCrimmon is in there as a shover on the short side and blocked off by Hextall. Pavanka back to the point. They'll go instead to Murphy. Murphy challenged as one helmet is off and one stick is lost by McCrimmon. Behind the net, McCrimmon picks up the stick. Now Langway right side. Oh, there's Murphy with an open side of the net shot. And it was knocked down in front as a great play by Howe to take the angle. Then Howe is dragged down on the near side. Murphy digs it out. Centering pass. Battle for it in front of the net. The penalty is over. Brown is out. Shot. And Hextall with that great right pick save keeps it out. Now Langway in the corner. Spins away from now. We get a stoppage of play. And we've got Howe in front with Duchesne. And they stop play.
You know what? Hextall gave Duchesne a shot, but I don't blame him. Capitals have been in that goal crease all the time, and he's not calling that interference. So when they're in there, and then he's not going to call it, if you're a goaltender, you got to keep that area clean. And now Brown's having a few words to say to Duchesne. Now, what's causing all this hullabaloo right now, Gene, rather, is the fact that Newell will not call goaltender interference.
Bartner is circling around, and he's talking to Hextall. As I say, what are you after me for? Hextall says, stay out of my crease.
Capitals really putting a lot of pressure on, and that was it. But that was after.
I didn't see that.
Oh, sure. Hextall gave him a shot, but this is after that Washington was in the goal crease constantly, and they won't show that.
Duchesne obviously going off, and Howe for Philadelphia?
No, I think it'll be given to Hextall possibly. So Newell can stop all that by calling what's in the rule book.
Well,
these penalties or penalty, whatever, we'll have to wait for the call, but it will come at 6:31.
Howe could get one and Hextall, which would indirectly perhaps give the Caps another power play, because there was jousting between Duchesne and Howe, and then Hextall with a slash on Duchesne's back of the leg. Here we go.
Number 27 goalkeeper on Hextall, 2 minutes for slashing. Number 14, Gaetan Duchesne, 2 minutes for high sticking. Time of the penalty, 6:31. Philadelphia penalty, goalkeeper, number 27, Ron Hextall, 2 minutes for slashing. Capitals penalty, number 14, Gaetan Duchesne, 2 minutes for high sticking. Time of the penalty, 6:31.
Duchesne, 10 minutes on the air. Hextall with 2 penalties back-to-back now has 8. And the Flyers have 6 of the game's 12 penalties. called by Dave Newell. And coincidental minors, they'll play at full strength on ice. Dave Brown back in the penalty box.
Again, serving the penalty for Hextall.
That's right, he got his goal. Brian Murray getting the vantage point by standing on the bench as the Capitals are leaning over the box, and now Newell is talking to Hextall. Propp is in there as well, and I think probably Propp is saying, look, they're sitting in the crease, but let's see what happens out of all of this. Spirited game, 6:31 gone, and the one that gave the Flyers a little breathing room. Brown is second from Zezel at 3:46 of this period.
What they're talking about now that the faceoff should come outside the blue line, because Propp is saying that the defenseman for Washington came back or came over the top of the circle, but Ray Scapanello said no, they didn't, that they were just stayed at the top of the circles and didn't go over that imaginary line. So the faceoff will stay inside the zone.
Scoreboard has an interesting note that St. Louis and Detroit are in the fourth period. Which
Maybe
I got
means overtime.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it means, but maybe they've created a new game. Puck right across the goal mouth. Flyers there, and Propp is hooked from behind, tries to shovel it past Gould, and the Canucks tenaciously keep it in. Marston pokes it into center ice. Oh, the Flyers have a break, but Propp couldn't get it through Scapanello and then drove it all the way down. Scott Stevens behind his net, bumped off. Kerr centered, and it was blocked by the stick of Mason just as Propp was getting into position, and Mason grabbed the puck, and that was a key play for him.
It's amazing, you know, you just see little things that happen throughout the game, and there, Tim Kerr just came down and just knocked Scott Stevens flying, and it didn't look like he hit him that hard, but it just shows you the strength of that player. As we take a look at the skyboxes up here at the Cap Center.
They are sky, too, triple-tiered. Flyers will have an offensive left circle face-off. Kerr out with Propp and Eklund, Marsh and Crossman, and the Caps. Pavanka with Gould and Francischetti. The defense, Stevens with Larry Murphy. Ray Scapanello, the draw between the rookie Czech Pavanka and Flyers Kerr. We're all set for the drop. Up there between their legs, behind the Cap net and the goal line, taken off by Stevens. Nice little reverse pass, and Pavanka up at center loses it to Propp. Through to Kerr, back to Propp, chips it in on the net, and it goes through Propp's skates to the far corner. Propp wants to come out of that corner. Two Caps in there, double team it. That's Francischetti along with Scott Stevens, and then the Caps shoot it out of the rink, and Murphy saying it's off the Flyer stick, and officials say no, it's off yours. Offensive right circle, Philadelphia.
You try to get the edge any way you can. 12:45 remains. Lots of time left for Brian Murray's Capitals.
Brian wanted to hold. I think he wants Brian Murray to make a unit change here. He's bringing out Hatcher and Langway along with Hallworth, Laughlin, and Adams. I think he feels that's his best defensive unit against this Flyer unit in his own zone, Bobby.
Well, it's been their best offensive unit as well, Gene. You know, you got Hallworth, the team leader, in 12 goals. Then you got Laughlin and Adams, 2 and 3 in the scoring with 18 and 17 points respectively.
In fact, Hallworth is the only Cap so far in double figures in scoring with his 12. Hallworth at the feet again, as so many of the draws have been tonight. Flyers try to go in. Langway blocks it off. An outlet smartly to Laughlin. Little return down that left side. Adams has with Hallworth as the trailer. Rolls it around behind the Flyer net. Adams is there along with Laughlin, but nobody in front. Nice team up there. Kerr tries to get it. Centering pass. It scoots to the blue line, and Langway does a marvelous job of keeping it in, but right on the stick of Kerr, who leads the charge up with Eklund on the near side. Eklund has it. Back to Kerr. Nice diving block of the pass by Kevin Hatcher, because Kerr was right there. He's in front. Shot by Propp. Just wide of the left shoulder of the goaltender and of the left post. As quickly back the other way, Washington's Hallworth at center ice, looking for a dump in and making a line change as the puck goes in on Hextall, and he outlets too far on the near side for Eklund. Up at center, the Flyers, Brown is in the box along with Duchesne, are ready to come out, but they cannot come out now till a stoppage of play. Their penalty times have expired. Caps crisscross into the zone. Gartner's knocked down as the puck rolls behind Hextall, slows it down. Boy, that's the key. Had he not slowed it down, Bobby Gartner would have picked it up. Oh, down that left side, Sutter. Look, holds, stops. then rolls through, and that play just went a boarding, and the Caps shoot it to center ice.
He's done it a number of times, Gene, that little soft pass at the blue line, and I know he gets mad at himself for doing that. First move too fast for that.
Up the middle, Lindsey Carson can't handle it. The Flyers quickly back on the defense, and Gartner will fly down that right side. Fakes the shot and then lost it. Now pivots away from Howe at the point, looking for a trailer. And he plays to the far boards, but no one was there. And he looked at Kevin Hatcher, and we're going to have a Flyer penalty against Hospodar. It's a bad one for knocking down Grant Lark way behind the flow of play. Flyer power play defense coming up. Midway, third period, they lead at 4-2.
Fuller, I'm not kidding. I have to be either moving or eating.
There's a Burger King.
Relax.
Somebody's got to teach these people how to eat.
Hey, Fuller. Thanks for the ride. See you later, man. Big Classic? I am not paying for this. I wanted a Whopper.
Trust me.
Introducing Wendy's new Big Classic, the soft Kaiser bun, the fat tomatoes, the fresh toppings, the beef. This is the good stuff.
Okay, it's amazing. You're right again. Happy?
Yeah.
Washington has their fourth power play opportunity. It comes at 8:55 as that cross-checking minor is handed out to Ed Hospodar. Most of their offense, or at least most of their sustained offense, has come when they've had the man advantage. Crowd trying to get everybody going here. Even the little ones are in the act.
Flyers out shooting the Caps 6-4 in this period, 29-25 for the game. They're 0 for 3 on the advantage, 1 for 20 on the year against Philadelphia. They've coughed up 2 shorthanded goals, so we mentioned earlier they're actually a -1 on their power play against the Flyers. Well, they're playing a little, what's that, bluegrass or what out there? I puck in the Flyers' defensive left corner. Howe works it away from Duchesne. Then, he hits Gartner on an outlet, does Hextall, and then the puck caroms off the near side and not out. A steal by Philadelphia. Nice play by Tocchet to McCrimmon and up through to Ron Sutter at center ice. Drives back to Howe, and they play 4 corners, and then it's iced off the stick of Tocchet from McCrimmon all the way down. 10:35 remaining, third period, 4-2 Philadelphia. The Caps desperately need an proximity goal right now, and the power play is the way to do it. Up ice, Murphy into the zone. He's got Gartner with him along with Pavanka. Langway goes off. There's a puck dumped behind the net. Rolls free. Back to the point to Stevens, who has just come on. In along the left side. It skips past Gartner into the corner and then kicks out to the Flyers, and they should get it down the ice. Now the Flyers bring out more troops. They have Marsh out with Crossman and Zezel with Craven. The Caps have Laughlin on along with Murphy. Almost a steal by Zezel, but it deflects the center, and the Caps have a 3-on-2. Quickly 3-on-3 as Craven is back. Over the line, Horworth. A wraparound to the far side. Greg Adams can't slow it down, and Zezel just picks it up and flight on the backhand and whistles it all the way. 40 seconds remaining on the Cap power play. 9:45 third period. Flyers by a pair at 4-2. Horworth leading the charge. Stick handling up at center ice. Pass a little check into the zone along the right side to Laughlin. Laughlin bumped in the offensive right corner. Laughlin is in there with Marsh. Marsh trying to cover the puck. Flyers doing a great job. Now Adams comes in to make it a Cap overload 3-on-2. Marsh now as Craven comes out of the corner. Marsh is knocked down. Caps finally come up with the puck. Marsh back into position. Laughlin holds along the hash marks, right side. Now the Flyers drop back. Laughlin is indecisive. He's got a man at the side of the net. Gives him the puck. That's Adams. Comes out of that corner. Holds. Now he's got a man at the side of the net. Wants to go back instead to Christian. The overload is on the far side to Steven. Now penalty is over. The pass knocked down and rolled by the Caps to the point. Boom! A turnaround shot by Horworth, and he was buried by Hospodar. His prop is 1-on-1 against Christian. Drive high off the glass behind Mason, and Hospodar coming out of the box made his presence felt. Howe into the Capital zone along the near side, holds at the blue line, has a man in front, a pass. He tried to get that to Lindsey Carson for a deflection, and the Caps throw him out on the left wing at center ice. Francis Getty at the line. Play broken up. Puck still in the Flyer zone, and Howe has it and just chips it into center ice, where Carson has it. He's got Brown in front. Off his skate, it rolls in on Mason. And he covers that, rolls it behind to Hatcher. Hatcher is checked as the Flyers now all of a sudden have gotten the second win. And they get the puck at center ice as it was shot out by Washington with 8:10 remaining. 4-2 Philadelphia. Left side pass. Howe has it. Didn't get it out. That's pivotal. But the Caps misfired. Francis Getty up the slot on the pass, and back comes Eklund at center. Nice pivot past Francis Getty going to the bench. pass Martin into the zone down that right side. Backhand shot. Mason a save. Rebound. Shot right on by Kerr. And Mason covered that one as Timmy did not get one of the corners. And here comes Pivanka down that right side against Marsh. He's by himself. Shot. And that was wide off the back of the Flyer net. Everybody over skates. It's played into the slot. Murphy has a bullet shot. And Hextall just goes up on the top of his skates to grab it in the right crook of the arm for the stoppage of play. 7:34 remaining. Third period from Washington. 4-2 Philadelphia.
Here's what's new. There you go. Great. Look, I'm really sorry that I ran off last time.
Tell him what's new.
Well, I couldn't wait to get my new Oldsmobile Delta 88.
Tell him what's new.
Okay. The Olds Connection dealers announce a holiday lease program. Until December 31st, you can lease a luxuriously equipped front-wheel drive Delta 88 and save thousands of dollars.
Thousands? I'm getting one.
Everyone's rushing to lease a Delta 88 at their Olds Connection dealer. It's the best news of the year.
Well, the man who made the big save off of Murphy, although Murphy had the shot get away, Ron Hextall. Is he relaxed now? People starting to make their way to the exits. Except there's a few faithful. Sting.
Faithful and unfaithful. You don't leave a play in the middle of the last act. Caps are competitive.
Depends on what the play is about and what it's like.
This is a good one. Brown behind Hextall. Sets it up. Off the glass. Kept in by Blum. Round. He's got two men in front. Works to the left circle. Still holds the puck. Chasing him is Kerr. Blum down into the corner. Back to Christian, who spins inside. Zezel has trouble to Langway. Point shot smothered. And there's a break. And Craven is going to go in all alone on Mason. Shoots! And Mason beats him as he went to the backhander to Mason's left and didn't get it up. Big play for the Caps. Langway no way could keep up with Craven, who had the goaltender measured, and Mason keeps the Caps within 2.
Big play by Mason. He had him all the way.
Yep.
Craven had nowhere to go.
Puck up at center, taken away from Kerr and slashed back in the Flyer zone. Marsh is out with Hospodar. Oh, there's a bad clearance by Hextall. Pulled down from behind as Larry Murphy and Dave Newell looks on impassively, and they're furious here as Scott Stevens first in after an icing for the stoppage of play. 6:31 remaining in regulation. 4-2 Philadelphia.
Boy, they got a right to be upset, I think.
Yep.
Holy cow, I'm telling you. That's the third period rule book.
I mean, you're right there. I mean, it wasn't like it was on the other side of the ice.
Zezel coming across, Murphy trying to get the shot. He hooks him. Murphy can't get it. Goes
Newell's
to the
5
ice.
feet away.
And no call. But prior to that, the breakaway that Craven had, as he blocked that shot from Langway, and Langway just didn't have the legs. He gets an awful lot of ice time out there, and Craven has great speed. Just come down. Mason comes well out on him now. And he has to try and deke him because he can't shoot until he really missed the shot. Didn't even get a shot on goal. But the point is that Mason was well out there challenging Craven. He looked up a little bit too late to get a good shot away, and then when he tried to go to the backhand, and I think he should have had him covered anyway. He would have had to get it right up in the penthouse to be able to score.
They called the face-off, and Nockbauer is seeing limited action. Maybe the second, third shift of the night is out with Brown, who has such a big goal in this period. It took momentum away from the Caps early on and gave the Flyers a 2-goal lead, and they've held it judiciously since, as Hallworth up through down that right side to Gartner. Wants to put it in front. Hextall dove across and covered it. And as Bobby Taylor said, made himself big along the ice, and then the ensuing play comes out of the rink near side, and the Caps will get an offensive right circle face-off, as now Greg Adams was pushing at Daigneault, and Dave Brown comes and says, how about moi?
You can change your mind when you see something like that happen. Daigneault getting a couple of shifts here in the last minutes of the game. Flyers using some well-rested plays. Now, Gartner just really tried to get that pass out there and then hoped that Adams could jam that puck in underneath Hextall, but he was unable to.
Daigneault was in there to block it off, and they're still gathered in. And Dave Newell may call something here just for effect. Yeah.
Actually, it's Adams talking to Newell. It appears he's doing all the talking to Newell.
All right, while they're hassling out the UN debate, 6:11 remain in regulation from Washington, 4-2 Philadelphia.
makes your day like helping others make it on their own.
You bring out the pride we all feel inside.
It's going to be easy next week.
It's more than just a job you do. You make America work, and this Bud's for you.
Good work.
Here's to you, Beechwood Aged, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
Well, it wasn't Dave Newell that Greg Adams was jawing with. It was Ed Hospodar. And it lasted long enough so that Hospodar and Adams have been banished to their dressing rooms.
10-minute misconduct.
That's what the call will be. 10-minute misconduct to Hospodar of the Flyers, Greg Adams of the Capitals. It comes at 13:49.
The penalties in the game, the Flyers have 8 of the 15 whistled by Dave Newell. These are the first misconducts. Of course, Hospodar and Adams could come back with 1:11 remaining in overtime if we got that far. Hospodar now with 41 minutes on the air, and Adams with his 10 minutes now has 56. Face-off offensive right side for Washington. Allworth now with Thomas on the right in the absence of Adams, and Laughlin on the left. Murphy and Stevens. Flyers have Marsh out with Crossman and Tocchet on with Derek Smith and Ron Sutter.
31-26 shots on goal total, Gene, so that would give the Flyers 8 and the Capitals 5 in this period.
I think what's significant, back to Murphy, wants to cut to the point. Goes instead to Stevens in front, directed wide of the net by Thomas, as there was really Thompson, no way that he was going to put that in. And the puck comes to center ice, driven back into the Capital zone. Played near side, and up ice comes the Capitals. They can't get away from Ron Sutter, and finally to Hallworth, as Hallworth leads the charge 3-on-3. Drive from the blue line, wide to the left of Hextall, cleared on the deep rebound away to the near side by Marsh. Now Larry Murphy tried to generate a shot, smothered. Back into the Flyers' defensive left corner. 2 Caps in there, 2 Flyers. Now the Flyers' Marsh tries to kick it away. Murphy tries to come in front. It's just taken off the stick as Murphy was harassed from behind, taken off by Crossman. Up at center and drills it into the zone with 5:15 remaining. My friends, that's a long way to go in a hockey game. Flyers center it as they have Tocchet out with Carson and Eklund now to the point. McCrimmon is shot deflected short side. Now Scott Stevens is working on a player. It goes back to McCrimmon. He looks, angle shot in front, just hit by Carson. Now the Flyers try to come out. Shot by Tocchet, hits the breadbasket of goaltender Mason to the near side, and shot out by Washington's Gartner. Halbach with McCrimmon. And Tocchet going off now as Eklund on the near side screens the puck away from Christian, who then takes it away for Washington. Right wings it for Gartner. Lifts it into the Flyers' zone. Hand passed out. If it's touched up by Eklund, it is not. And Gartner takes it into the zone. Swings to his right. Pivots. Drives it into the offensive left corner where Francis Getty takes it on the carab. Back behind. Eklund is there. Up in the far side. And Kerr should have an easy outlet to center ice. We're down to 4:15. Oh, Langway gives the puck away at center. Flyers carrying through, and then waiting too long to get it in was Prop, and busting in on the left side looking for a lead pass was Howe offside.
You know, if you're really curious on what to get that Flyers fan for Christmas, something different, well, why don't you pick up the Flyers Stanley Cup 1. It's a 2-hour video which shows Rick McLeish's cup-winning goal, Bernie Pront's great shutout goaltending, Kate Smith sings God Bless America, and much, much more. But you can get it in either VHS or Beta. These tapes can be purchased at the Spectrum, all the Showcase stores, and most of your local video outlets. Or you can get it by mail. $49.95 plus $2 for mailing to Flyers Video, the Spectrum, Philadelphia 19148.
Toronto has fallen on the downside. They're getting blown out in Minnesota 5-1. So the Leafs are coming back to reality. At center, Marsh on the feed, drills it in. Hatcher away from Dave Brown and through at center ice, but no play for Pavanka. And Marsh is here to lift it into the Washington end. Chasing after it is Hatcher on with Blum, and up front Pavanka with Gould and Duchesne. Duchesne tries to come out. Flyers whack at it. Finally, it's driven into center ice. But the Flyers are doing an effective job right now. But here come the Caps into the zone. Pavanka wants to pivot, to skate it off, but it's taken by Duchesne. He fires it off the far side, and the puck is finally shot behind the Philadelphia net. Nice play to the near side, and then lost by Derek Smith. Gathered back by Crossman, wheels it around to his own right corner from behind the net. Then Marsh on the far side tries to come out. Caps tie it up, cannot make a play, and then it kicks loose to Marsh. The Crossman will turn back into his own zone with 3:15 remaining in regulation. 4-2 Philadelphia, and they did a beautiful job so far in the last few minutes. Marsh then drives it back to Crossman in his own zone. Back to Marsh on the near side. This is Dean Smith hockey, four corners at center, and then it drifted to the cap end. Played, driven blue line to Philadelphia, and then played by the Flyers cross ice into the Washington zone. McCrimmon coming out with Howe. Hatcher's on with Stevens. There's a play, but not out. Second play out, taken by Kerr, slapped back in. That should be an offside, but the Flyers clear the zone, and play continues. Murphy is charged all night with the puck. Into Laughlin, fires it in on Hextall. Off the far glass, picked up by Scott Stevens. He shoots wide. The rebound is center. Oh, and there's going to be a penalty on Laughlin because Craven had an oblong, all by himself break into the cap zone. He was pulled down, and with 2:29, the Caps pick up a penalty. 2:29 remaining regulation, 4-2 Philadelphia.
Being cool, you'll find, is a state of mind. A refreshing attitude. Things get hot. Cool is all you got. Doing it country cool. Mountain Dew. So chill on out when the heat comes on. With the cool smooth Mountain Dew. Doing it country cool. Mountain Dew. Doing it country cool.
Flyers pick up their fourth opportunity on the power play as Laughlin picks up a hooking minor at 17:31. They're 1 for 3 at this point.
And 4 for 17 against the Caps. They keep it in. Offensive right side. Holding, cross to Howe. Howe looks near corner to Kerr. Cross ice trying to find Craven at the opposite side. But the Caps dig it out and deflect the center. Well, the Caps, who had hoped to use the Flyers as a springboard to ending that 8-game winless string, are in dire jeopardy of seeing it continue to 9 and drop their home record to 4-6-1. Howe at the side of the net. Oh, right there was, they'll pull the trigger. It skipped on him. So he punches it behind. Langway has it there, clears out and all the way down as we're in the final minute and 50 of regulation. 4-2 Philadelphia. Allworth in pursuit, and a nice move from Hextall to McCrimmon up on the left side to Zezel. Cross ice taken on the carom off the boards by Craven. Rink wide pass stolen, and the Caps have an opportunity shorthanded. They come into the zone. Christian over the line, wants to drop a pass to the near side, and the shot line by Larry Murphy. Hextall is down, and the Flyers cover up at the side of the net, and it kicks out to Kerr, but Kerr doesn't come out, and he drives it back behind his own net to prevent the Caps from stealing, and that allows Crossman to get it up to Kerr. Remember, the Flyers on the power play right now, but with 1:15 left, their key emphasis now is to control the puck in the 2-goal lead. The Daigneault to Kerr, and he drives it in as the Caps without a goaltender. They have taken the goaler out with 1:05 left and back by 2. There's a steal. Daigneault looking at the open net for his first Flyer goal, and it's blocked behind. To the near side, Zezel in front, and the Flyers can't hit the net. And the Caps coming up at center ice. With 50 seconds remaining in Ray Pavanka can only dump in. Hextall is out, clears it off the glass, past the Craven at center, and the Caps will have to try again. Hatcher drills it in, it's blocked off. Caps in front, a shot wide of Hextall. He slashes at it, it goes way up in the air into the seats near side as both he and Gartner had a poke. And we have 7 seconds left on the Cap shorthanded stint, 36 seconds remaining in regulation. And the Flyers bidding to make it 3 in a row over the Washington Capitals. That net, an empty edifice of tonight's Flyers win. 6-4, and the Flyers found it 4 times tonight. Tocchet, Zezel on the power play, Prop and Brown, and Stevens for the Caps, and Gartner. Flyers were 1-1 after 1 and never saw the Caps come again. Now, Doug Crossman has gone into the dressing room, as we remind you that our site producers have been Mike Finocchiaro, our director Sheldon Schemmer and Aldo Farnese, associate directors Donna Westmoreland and Bud Finocchiaro, our co-coordinating producers Jamie McVicker and Ray Lombardi, our executive producer Carol Healy, producer Mike Rubin, and the rest of the crew at Philly 57 WGBS. We have a Washington timeout. Listen, 36 seconds left, and you have an offensive face-off. You have the goaler out, which means you're equal in manpower. That's 5 skaters against 5. You get a tie, or you get a shot on goal, and you're within 1. And remember, the record in the league, I believe, for 3 goals in the shortest space of time is 20 seconds. And there are 36 on the board, and we've had 2 goals as quickly as 4 seconds. So while it often looks hopeless, that's the marvel of the game, that changes can occur. A few years ago at LA, the Flyers had a 2-goal lead going in to the last minute after Ray Ellison hit the empty net, and by heavens, didn't Dion and then a guy named Larry Murphy